Schumacher then charges to the line. This man really looking like he is in a league of his own this afternoon.
Michael Schumacher, absolutely brilliant in qualifying. Victory in the race guarantees World Championship number 4. David Coulthard's alongside the German on the front row, but his title hopes are hanging by a slender thread. And Schumacher's huge fan club are here in their thousands, primed to paint Budapest red if their hero delivers at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Hello there, welcome to the Hungaroring. This could just be D-Day in F1 2001. Michael Schumacher on the verge of retaining his crown. It's going to be very hot work for him, though. 30 degrees the air temperature, 40 and rising on the track. Absolutely delighted to welcome alongside Tony Jardine, Eddie Jordan. You're to blame. You put this bloke into Formula One, what was it, 10 years ago?
I wish I still had him, and that's no reflection on the two drivers I've got, but Michael has been the sensation, really, for the last decade. I don't think any driver has dominated the world of motorsport, particularly Formula One, like what he's done in that period. And, you know, we could be on a historic moment here today. He's
come back very relaxed, hasn't he, Tony, from his 3-week holiday. Is this the day for him, do you think?
Well, he's perfectly placed. He said the car's 100%. He's looking good. We've got to remember what the Ferrari president said. 2 big crashes, one in Monza, one at Hockenheim, 2 Ferrari failures, 2 car failures there. It's not over yet.
Well, as things stand, Michael Schumacher is 37 points clear of David Coulthard, though encouraging for Coulthard. He's gone quickest in morning warm-up. His second place, though, being challenged by Hockenheim winner Ralf Schumacher and Barrichello. Hakkinen, he's won in Hungary for the last couple of years, and Montoya chasing that elusive first win. So, a win guarantees Schumacher the championship. If he finishes 3 points ahead of Coulthard, that's good enough as well. Mathematically, the younger Schumacher and Barrichello both have a chance, but not in the real world. Could be a double celebration for Ferrari. If they score 7 more points than McLaren, Ferrari are Constructors' champions once again. Behind Williams, we'll have a look at that scrap involving Sauber, British American Racing and Jordan for that 4th place. Alan, Eddie, you've been at the centre of a bit of an upheaval. You've sacked Heinz-Harald Frentzen. You've got Jean Alesi in your team. Before we talk, let's get the latest from Louise Goodman.
Jean Alesi has had a lot to get to grips with this weekend, and it hasn't been plain sailing all the way. Even finding the right garage proved tricky on Friday. Jean was halfway to Prost before he realised his mistake. Things were starting to come together by the end of qualifying, but Alesi was still over a second adrift of his teammate.
The problem was my adaptation. It took too much time to be able to drive the car as the car go, because if you look, Trulli is 5th. It's a fantastic performance for our team, and they give me the target of the car, and I have to push to be at least at this level.
Really, we've got the experience with the car, and Jean's the new boy. Maybe in a couple of races' time after he's done that and a couple of tests in between, he'll be able to add more to the package, if you like. But at the moment, obviously, we're taking the leading role because we've got all the knowledge and the experience, and we've also got Jarno's car to relate to. Jean's strength has always been in his career that I'm aware of, that he is a racer. You know, that's what it's about. When when he puts the helmet on Sunday, that's when everybody stands up and be counted.
Heinz-Harald Frentzen has a point to prove this weekend. He slipped pretty seamlessly into his new seat at Prost and impressed the team with his performance so far.
I have to say I tried very hard today. I mean, to get the best balance out of the car. It was not so easy, not having any test session before, test practice before. So what I have here, what I received here, I try to do the best, and that's the maximum outcome.
It's been a very steep learning curve for him. He's never used Michelin tyres before. They work very differently to Bridgestones. So our car is also very different to the Jordan, and he had an awful lot of work to do to just learn about the car and try and get things sorted out for Prix. Heinz Harald is very calm, very, very good and methodical technically, and you know, I think Jean's races with his heart basically. It was sad for him to leave the team, but I think Heinz Harald has more than filled his boots, and hopefully if things go well, we'll be beating Jean on the track.
It was a heck of a decision of yours to get rid of Heinz Harald Frentzen. It's not always in this business that people are genuinely shocked. I think they were by that move.
I mean, I really think enough has possibly been said about this issue, and rather than dragging up things, obviously want to think about today and today's results and Jean and Jarno in the team, but Heinz, and it must be remembered that he brought the best results to Jordan so far. So it was an enormously difficult decision, a decision that I wouldn't want to make too often. But I have to think about the long-term future of the team and where the team was going and the difference of opinions that we had. And I am committed to winning a championship, and I need to do that quickly. I don't really want to hang around here for life, and Formula One is a cruel business, can be cruel, but it can be very enjoyable at the same time. And I think I don't want to say too much. I would like to wish Heinz Harald a good race today. I hope we beat him, and he hopes he beats us.
Have the two of you had a chat here at all?
Don't think we've quite got around to having a chat yet. But I don't know why you say that. Thanks a lot.
The solicitors, it's all right.
Yeah. Now, well, John O'Lacey, you'd have been talking to him, but I'm just wondering, how long is this arrangement with John O'Lacey? He's saying it's for next season as well, as far as you're concerned. How long will Jean be wearing the yellow?
The real facts are, and such like, that he will drive for the remainder of this season. He is what we need at the moment. We needed a very experienced hand to help us through a difficult period. Some people call it turmoil. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but nevertheless it was a situation where we needed an experienced hand and somebody that we knew. And I don't think I know anyone better than Jean. He lived with us, he's part of our family, he's almost like a son. You know, it's hard to describe that there is a connection. But it wasn't done for that. It was done because I think he can drag the results out of the car.
But you want John O'Lacey to deliver immediately, don't you, Eddie?
I think it'll be particularly difficult either for Heinz or for Jean to deliver here, and that's always the penalty you pay. Because of the gap, there was a 3-week gap which is enforced no testing or qualifying, which made it even more difficult because the drivers had been pitched in with actually no knowledge of the cars whatsoever. That's a pretty daunting prospect for any driver, no matter how talented, however professional they are, and they all are very professional. It is a big task to do.
Now, Jarno Trulli has come back full of running from his holiday, but he's a bit of a wanted commodity, isn't? And there's a strong story linking him with a drive at McLaren now. Time
will tell. People might say maybe I'll get my comeuppance in another way, who knows. Look, I think that's all in the future. Nevertheless, Jarno, what he is doing in the team, and he is relishing this position now. He's the #1 driver in Jordan. You can see, I believe, he's upped his game already this weekend. He is a very rare talent, and he's very focused, he's young, he's committed, and he's fast. It's about all you need.
You would want to keep him, though?
Of course. And I think if you ask him the same thing, there are 1 or 2 little niggly little things that need to be sorted out, and other than that, everything is agreed. So, all being well, we'll talk about it in the future, maybe next race.
Yeah, I mean, you know this world backwards. Are people waiting for a certain extent on the former world champion Mika Häkkinen to see what he's going to be doing?
I'm not sure Mika Häkkinen has a part to play in this, although there's all sorts of rumours about other teams and things. But I mean, Formula One lives on rumours. I don't need to tell you that. But and Jordan is its own provider of those rumours from time to time in itself. But quite leaving that aside, Jarno Trulli and Jordan, I think the method and the mode and the happiness about the way the team is structured, I think it makes sense for both of us to do and get on with next year.
But a super qualifying performance from Jarno Trulli, getting past Mika Häkkinen, what was 61 minutes on the clock, wasn't it?
Well, that's what he has just recently acquired, is that he has become that little bit more hungry. He has gained in confidence, and I think this, at this stage, is becoming a little bit of a psychological barrier as well. He now believes he can take on these guys, and Mika Häkkinen, twice world champion, the up-and-coming star, you know, Jarno, he's full of it. He just really wants to get in there, and I think we can see a lively race from him today too, because he will not give in. We saw what happened with Coulthard at Silverstone. Everyone has their own opinion as to who made the right mistake or the wrong mistake, but in this particular case, I think a message was delivered, and that is Jarno Trulli is not going to be an easy pushover. He's there to win races in the future.
Mentioning David Coulthard there, I mean, Heinz-Harald Frentzen did him no favours in qualifying yesterday, didn't he? I mean, a bit of brain fade there from Heinz-Harald?
Well, I think he was pretty dozy, to be honest, but here we are. It's the first flying lap for David Coulthard. He really needs to go well, and he comes round the corner and finds Heinz-Harald Frentzen just come out the pits, and occasionally Heinz-Harald Frentzen can fall asleep. He was getting messages, by the way, from his pit that a car was coming up behind him, didn't look in his mirrors, totally unaware, ruined the lap. By the way, Jean Alesi there 2 years ago in the Sauber got put off by an Arrows, and Jean ended up into hospital, being blocked in just the same situation.
Michael Schumacher really hooking up the Ferrari, though, 3.5 seconds quicker than last year's pole, and he did 6 laps, didn't he?
Well, it's humbling the opposition, and unfortunately for the opposition, I include Eddie in this, they are still developing the 2001 car. They made that decision about 3 weeks ago, as well as looking ahead to the 2002 Ferrari. It's such a well-balanced car. This guy, as you said, come back refreshed from the break. He was wanting to get back, not allowed to do any testing, just going quicker and quicker the whole time. And they've got more engine power this time, they've got a revised aero package, it goes on.
In contrast to that, though, Montoya and Häkkinen are really fighting with their cars.
Tail end Charlie's, the rear end of the car was getting away from both of them. Montoya said, I'd turn in and it just wouldn't go anymore. And he said, whatever I tried, it was going away from me. Häkkinen, guy who's won here twice, real expert around here, could not cure that back end jumping out. You saw him going over the curbs there, into the dust. They've even been changing springs this morning in an effort to make that McLaren handle.
OK, Tony, race 13 in the season. Just take us through the grid, could you?
Well, it's the 41st pole for Michael Schumacher. He can't believe the gap. 0.8 of a second. Coulthard did well in a new chassis, said there wasn't much difference. Get on the front row there, he's got a slight chance. Barrichello was blocked by Montoya. Ralf Schumacher very happy with his car, and truly great getting ahead of the McLaren there, pipping Häkkinen down in 6th position. Heidfeld good again, the German doing a great job. Montoya struggling with the handling of that BMW Williams. Raikkonen again very good indeed. Villeneuve used Panis's setup in part to get ahead of his French teammate. Jean Alesi, last gasp effort, but very relieved to take that 12th place on the grid. Della Rosa, dead chuffed to be ahead of Irvine. Irvine admitted, I overdrove totally sideways through the last chicane, paid the penalty. Fisichella no grip. Frentzen settling in. Button, 2 engine changes, has to take Fisichella's spare car, and it's the old engine. Alonso was brilliant, drove his socks off to take 18th. Berti, the Brazilian, alongside Bernaldi, hoping Berti doesn't jump over him at this race. Verstappen way back, very upset. Marquez had a problem with the engine sensor.
Eddie, I know you've got to go and take charge of your team. Before you go, talk about the 3-week break. I mean, you were one of the big fans of it, weren't you? Has it worked for Formula One?
Sadly, it rebounded on me because I got very little. It was something to do with driver negotiations or whatever, so somebody had their just reward. But I think what happens is that we are away from home for so long, and the travelling is becoming so difficult, and all of the other things that are peripheral to which people don't necessarily see. And coupled to that, to an exhaustive testing program. I think the people and the mechanics, the engineers, the drivers, the designers, everybody just absolutely flaked out. So this was a window of opportunity where we put 2 races together, i.e. France and Britain, and then have a 3-week gap so most people can actually see their families or reunite themselves with friends or loved ones or whatever it is over this 2-3 week gap. I think it's been a massive success. I hope it continues. I hope we've demonstrated to the powers that be that no one has lost out, and let's continue.
Just finally, you surprised us all with Jean Alesi. People say, we know Eddie would have 1 or 2 more cards up his sleeve to play before the season's out. Is that right?
I think I've done my card playing for once. Will you leave me alone, please?
Eddie Maverick.
Dear, oh dear.
Eddie, have a good race today. We appreciate you coming across to join us.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Eddie. Right then, well, Michael Schumacher has returned to the fray. Very fresh indeed, describing his qualifying lap as perfection.
Schumacher then charges to the line. It is a 14 flat. This man really looking like he is in a league of his own this afternoon, Michael Schumacher.
While I was finishing my lap, I was thinking, well, it is a long time ago I was able to say that was a 100% perfect lap, and that one is one of the few I have done.
Today is Michael Schumacher's date with destiny. Win here this afternoon, and not only does he clinch his 4th world title, but he equals Alain Prost's record of 51 wins. The margin in qualifying yesterday was astonishing, 0.8 of a second, and although it's sure to be closer in the race today, it shows how confident he is that this is his weekend.
I feel good, but I feel not over-optimistic, because I know sometimes qualifying race can be a different story, and yeah, to be world champion is the same sentence as to be first. You have first to win, first to finish, and to win on top. So we'll find out. It will be a tough race. It will be a hard race, but we have it in our hands.
It's all a far cry from the nail-biting finales at Suzuka, which we've seen in recent years. The lack of pressure is clear.
It was the first time in my career I'm able to secure a championship so early in the year. But nevertheless, I want to win the race, and to win a race, it is equal to other races where we have seen huge battles, and so we will have the same tension as we have in other races.
But how do his rivals feel? David Coulthard has had his best season so far, but you can tell how deflated he and McLaren are that they've let Schumacher get to the point where he can wrap it up 4 races from the end.
As a team, of course, of which I'm part of, we're a bit disappointed with some of the reliability issues, and we know we were on the back foot a little bit with how late we started, and the way we developed the car early on, we didn't find the pace that Ferrari have had in qualifying. So the season's as a result of that.
You can be obsessed with winning, which is, I'm afraid, one of my characteristics, but that doesn't mean to say it's to the detriment of being sporting about it, you know. And if he does it, I reluctantly congratulate him.
He woke up this morning a 3-time world champion. He could be waking up tomorrow to find he's become a legend.
Ron Dennis will congratulate him through clenched teeth, but Michael Schumacher so laid back all weekend.
He is, but he's admitted to some of the Italian press he is feeling the pressure from the German fans, Italian expectations. He said, "You can't blame me, I am feeling very tense within. I'm trying to remain calm out. They do want to wrap it up here."
It's really sad how McLaren's challenger seems to have dropped away this season. David Coulthard, 9 points from a possible 60. Since his victory in Austria, he's lost that early season consistency. His McLaren went out very early at Silverstone, another blank at Hockenheim. Meantime, Häkkinen's career really hanging in the balance, and his Silverstone win a rare highlight in a low-key season for the Finn. When you rejoin us in Hungary, we're going to hear from the most successful Grand Prix driver of all time. A win for Michael Schumacher, and he equals Alain Prost's record. The Frenchman's mind, though, is on keeping his struggling team afloat.
Well, disappointed, certainly. We thought we'd easily, not easily, but we thought we'd be in the top 10. Of course, we're only a couple of tenths of a second, 2 or 3 tenths off, but you know, that's 3 or 4 cars that we have to get by, and that's disappointing because it's hard to pass anybody, period, let alone here. Race form, I don't think we're in bad shape, but again, you know, we're just going to need, we're going to need a problem-free race, good pace, good pit stops. Hope a few others run into some problems, and you know, you never know. If you looked at the way Hockenheim finished, you'd never believe that Jacques would have been on the podium based on where he was early in the race. So anything can happen.
Is the major challenge for the race keeping the tires together?
Yeah, I think so. Tires are definitely the story, I think, of the weekend, and you know, we still don't have the car as good as it should be or could be, but you know, we pretty much maximize this chassis, I think, and you know, we're just going to have to really look for the smallest of little improvements. That, you know, we're not that far away from being 10th or 9th on the grid, so it's just finding those little things come qualifying day that we've got to get a hold of, and we'll see what happens, but you know, we got to get to the end. That's the first challenge.
Best luck for today. Thanks, Bobby.
Just over half an hour to go to the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. They're priming themselves for a massive party in these parts, roughly coinciding with the 1000th birthday of the state of Hungary. Beverly Turner's been down by the Danube, having a look around Budapest.
Budapest, the self-styled Queen of the Danube. It's one of the world's most fascinating capital cities, catering for every taste, from high culture to marathon vodka sessions. But to appreciate the vibrant diversity of today's Budapest, we should first take a quick look at its past. Originally, Budapest was split into two cities, Buda and Pest, funnily enough. And behind me down there is Pest, the commercial centre on the east bank of the Danube. And up here is Buda, where the views are fantastic. See what I mean? Amazing. The stunning panorama from high up here on Galette Hill. It's a popular spot for tourists and one of the most important locations in Budapest, because looking out onto the entire city is the Citadel, and symbolising freedom, Hungary's very own version of the Statue of Liberty. That's just one of many monuments throughout Budapest that testify to the city's turbulent and tempestuous history. Heroes Square was built to mark the creation of the Hungarian state. And as a legacy to almost 150 years of Turkish occupation, there are many medicinal spas or thermal baths where the locals come to relax and recuperate. But more and more these days, Budapest is fast gaining a reputation as a city which really comes into its own at night. This is Liszt Square, the cafe mecca, where the young and trendy of Budapest come to soak up the atmosphere and have a great time, and never more so than on the eve of race weekend.
It's a city which I would say is growing. It's turning western, and the good thing with Budapest is the people.
And on a sweltering summer evening, the locals will tell you the best way to see the city at a more leisurely pace is by one of the most traditional forms of transport. So here we are on a moonlight cruise down the Danube. You can't come to Budapest and not do this. From what I've seen, it really is a fantastic city, by day or by night.
Well, no fireworks, but the highest honour Hungary can bestow for Bernie Eccleston, the Freedom of Budapest last year. This time the mid-cross honour of the Hungarian Republic to the Formula One Supremo, acknowledging the importance of the Grand Prix to the country. Precious few accolades for the Prost team this season. John O'Lacey gone. Heinz Harald Frentzen there, recruited to add to the meagre tally of 4 points. A harrowing time for Alain Prost. He's with Murray Walker.
If you look at it from the outside, the split between you and Jean O'Lacey is very sad. I mean, your fellow countrymen, you know each other, you're friends. Was it not avoidable?
I think so, yes. But I still did not understand why we reached this situation. I know him so well, and I know the situation of the team. I knew that it was possible to have Heinz Harald, and I did not want to make another compromise even for the friendship.
Well, you've got one big consolation. If he throws any more helmets into the crowd, it will be Eddie Jordan's radio equipment that goes with them.
It costs less money.
Not yours. Yes. Now, what about Heinz Harald Frentzen? Did you immediately get onto the telephone to him, or was there a delay?
No, I mean, yes, normally I don't like too much to say what happened and how that happened, but it is obvious that during the weekend in Hockenheim, I just took my phone and called his manager and said, what is the situation with Ensarald? Is he going to be, is he free, and would he be interested just in case we have any problem, you know? And to be honest, I thought at one stage that Jean wanted to retire, not going to Eddie.
Yeah. All right.
No, I thought my first feeling, my first impression was, but I understood later on that maybe he said that to me just to, you know,
soften
make
the
me
blow.
think,
Yes. What about the future of the team?
The split with Jean was one thing, but the way some people have used the situation of the team and saying wrong information, which is really close to be a court case.
Actionable. Oh.
Yeah, because you know, saying that we did not pay the engine or we have not paid Jean for 6 months or something like this, it's absolutely not true. And we are working on a new project. I hope very soon, I don't know when, but for sure it's a question of weeks. I can have some good news for everybody, I hope so, and for me and for the team.
Oh, well, that's good news. Now, on a personal level, you can look back on a driving career which made you one of the greatest drivers of all time, and you have still, as I talked to you at Hungary, got the record for the most Grand Prix wins, but it looks as though you won't have much longer. Are you sad about that?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy, but and I just saw Michael. I'm quite pleased for him, honestly, because he deserved that. And it's a kind of things that when you cannot fight, I prefer to be beaten by a driver that I respect, a driver I deserve, and with all the team around. And also I prefer to be beaten not being myself in activity.
How do you rate him as a driver? I don't mean in numerical terms, that's impossible.
No, I rate him in a very, I would never say this one was the best, or obviously you can only compare different generations with different cars, and he's for sure the best of his generation. Has been helped a lot by people like Luca Montezemolo, by Jean Todt, by Ross Brown, by Rayburn, all this group of people around. But what he has done is very impressive.
If he came to you and said, I have all the numbers I want, I would like to help you, John.
To drive or to... You know, the good thing with Michael now, he could drive very well, but he could even be a sponsor. He has earned so much money. So if he would do both, it would be fantastic.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Tony fancies him as a sponsor. Therein lies the problem. Alain's a bit short of francs, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very sensitive to that, and the French press have been digging very, very deep. But it seems he's got a massive engine bill from Ferrari. They said he's running on a budget as low as 25 million. That's why he said in there, you know, you won't have helmets being thrown away with expensive radio kits, and every penny counts there. And there's a spectre of Pedro Diniz taking over the whole team, which Diniz would like to do.
Thanks, Tony. We're talking to you from the vast natural bowl that is the Hungaroring outside Budapest. Grand Prix, the biggest tourist attraction of the year, around 125,000 people here, a huge German contingent, primed for the possibility of another Michael Schumacher world title. Let's drive the circuit, Martin Brundle, with a man who's won twice round here.
Join Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR. 2.5 miles of action coming your way, thick and fast into the pit straight. You will not see Villeneuve change up or down once during this lap. Fully automatic gearbox. Somebody's hidden turn one. There it is now. Follow the white line. It leads you nicely to the apex and hug the inside. A short squirt down to 2, but up to 125 miles an hour already. Down to just 55 through this tight apex. Hang to the left. An easy flat turn 3. And heading up the hill once more now, up to 175 miles an hour for an equally blind turn 4. Take a little bit of curb on the inside, some good grip on the outside, and straight into 5. No breather here, 80 through the middle part, and hit the throttle quite late. It's bumpy on the exit, and up to 140 before braking heavily into the tight chicane. The curbs look like small hills in a Formula 1 car, and squirt towards turn 8, which leads immediately into turn 9, just breezing around 80 miles an hour through here, and exploding towards turn 10 already, easily full throttle. 11, a bit of a tricky corner, mind the back end. Villeneuve having to correct the car and downhill gently now towards turn 12. Nasty, nasty curb on the outside, rides that nicely. Adjust the brake balance so as not to lock a wheel into 13. Still fighting the car. Villeneuve not at all happy with the balance at this time. Over to the left, a nasty bump into the final turn. Patient on the way in. You want to go so much harder, so much earlier, but you just can't find the grip. Now you can go into that pit straight one more time.
Jacques Villeneuve starting 10th in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let's have a word about David Coulthard. Had to go to Ron Dennis on Friday and say, give us a new motor, didn't he?
Yeah, this curb that Martin was just talking about at 12 there, they'd actually built these new serrated edges which just cut through the bottom of the chassis. And really, David Coulthard was in danger of backside. They'd taken off 2.5 centimetres, cut the tops off those serrated edges just there at the insistence of the FIA because the teams hadn't been informed. Had to build up a whole brand new chassis, over £500,000 worth of new car for David Coulthard. Credit to McLaren, he didn't feel the difference the next morning.
Okay, well, all season long, David Coulthard has been Michael Schumacher's prime challenger, but whisper it gently, Coulthard is now being pursued by a Williams and by the second Ferrari.
David Coulthard's championship chances may have slipped away, but the battle for the runners-up spot is still very much alive. That's of little interest to the Scot, though.
There's no gain to me in being second. You either win the World Championship or you don't. And there's no financial incentive, there's no ego incentive. You know, I'm here to win, and if it's not possible, then it's about individual races rather than the championship position itself.
Yeah, but there's still pride at stake. I mean, you'd surely rather come second than fourth, wouldn't you?
I feel I'm pretty proud of my performance this year, and I don't believe that if I, in the next 5 races, end up not scoring as many points as Ralph and Rubens, that I can undo what I believe I've achieved so far this year. I finished third, I don't know how many times in this World Championship, so I guess second would be a step up from that, but it's only a trophy in the cabinet. It doesn't give you WC after your name.
That honour is set to go to Michael Schumacher, and on Williams' current form, there's every possibility that brother Ralph could make it a Schumacher 1-2.
Basically, if everything continues as it is, so that we stay relatively reliable and finish races, I think that's the biggest favour we have above the other driver, I guess. But then there are still 5 races to go, and McLaren is, as we know, at certain racetracks that were pretty strong last year, so there will be this year as well. So I have to wait and see, but we try, obviously. Yeah.
Rubens Barrichello shouldn't be discounted, though. He's got his sights firmly set on that second slot.
I think Ferrari wants to win the championship with Michael, and then after that, I think it's going to be something that they're going to be working for. So, but you know, to be honest, I was having my own race in Hockenheim. They let me pass Michael, and I was having my race. So at least, you know, I'm able to work for that. I think. You know, the biggest thing would be to work for first, but if I can work for second, I would be lying if second is not better than fourth or third, so I am thinking of that.
And Rubens could have one crucial advantage. If Michael sews up the championship, it could be payback time.
It remains there to be seen. You know, I'm not so sure what can happen later on in the season, but I hope he can win the championship as soon as possible. And then I'll be there to watch what's going to happen.
That'll suit Rubens just fine. Just have a look how close things are behind Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard, what, 6 ahead of Ralph and just 7 ahead of Rubens Barrichello. He's got plenty to do for the rest of the season. This place, though, Tony, only used once a year, and there's a dirty side of the circuit that David Coulthard has to start from.
Dirty, bumpy. Most of the runners on the inside, including David on the front, will run along close to the Armco barrier, separating out from the pits to run over there and just try and get some grip down there. There he is, see, going over his place on the grid, trying to get some rubber down there for that vital start, so vital. And of course, no straights here, always turning the corners. Fitness is vital, and the heat's really going to tell on them this afternoon. None fitter than David Coulthard, other than Schumacher, of course.
Warm-up, quickest in Sunday morning warm-up, and how much relevance, how important is that?
It's very important because it's a transition between a qualifying car and a race car. McLaren are very good, particularly here as they were last year, in developing the race setup, particularly as David has a new chassis as well. He had small battery problems this morning which are affecting the gear change, so that gave him a few heart tremors, but everything's okay. So, you know, he has a small chance, doesn't he?
Absolutely right, and the McLaren team have worked exceptionally hard to get David Coulthard up there on the front row of the grid. There is David, never won here in Hungary, but he needs a much better start that he made here last year. Was very slowly away indeed. Well, it looked like the charismatic Colombian Juan Pablo Montoya was going to win last time out in Hockenheim. And then Williams had a major refueling problem. Not the first time we've seen that in the pits this season. High tension chaos and Montoya's race blown. James Allen joined the Williams pit crew early this morning.
Now, Sam, what exactly happened in Hockenheim and what steps have you taken to make sure it never happens again?
When the operator connected the rig to Juan's car, the fuel flowed, but he had no indication of fuel going into the car, so he aborted the filling procedure and changed to Ralph's rig and put a lot more fuel in on top of it. Ultimately, it meant the car sat there for 18 seconds longer than what it should have done and ended up with a full tank of fuel. To make sure that it doesn't happen again, we've given the operator a lot more viewing of whether the rig is flowing or not via independent systems. We're not 100% sure that it's fixed it, but it should be a step in the right direction.
Now, pit stops are so vital. Getting the fuel into the car quickly is such a key part of Grand Prix racing now. Are these rigs generally a bit tricky to deal with?
They generally are. The concept has changed from last year to this year, and that it's gone from a pressure control device to a flow control device using electric motor and a laptop, and I think that is the main part of the rig which we're having problems with. We've had no fewer than 4 or 5 problems at Williams this year, and I know other teams have had problems, but generally they have been very troublesome in this season.
Now, you're one of the top race strategists in the pit lane. What's the secret here at Hungary? It's normally a 2-stop race, but what kind of indicators are we going to see today?
Normally 2 or 3 stop around here, but even so, people have done 1 stop in the past, but I can't see that happening today. It's quite a big difference. I would say a good mixture of different levels of 2-stop and maybe even some 3 stops, and it's going to depend on what sort of degradation you get. I'd say that on the Michelin Prime tyre we do have quite an advantage over the Bridgestone, looking at the sort of degradation I saw on those tyres on Friday, but you never know until the race. We'll have to just wait and see, I think.
Is there anything in the conditions, the heat, is that going to play a part?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think for us, the hotter it gets, the better.
The hotter, the better. 31 degrees air temperature, 40 and rising down there on the track. Let's go to the front of the grid and join Martin Brundle.
Thanks, Jim. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the grid for this, the 16th Hungarian Grand Prix. Can Michael Schumacher take the World Championship? Well, this is his view down to the first corner. Hopefully he will want to be there first, and Coulthard will desperately, from alongside him on the grid, be trying to stop him. Of course, this very attractive young lady will not be standing in the way, and nor will all of these people. Look, the Ferrari has just arrived onto the grid from a huge cheer from this massive crowd, very much partisan towards the Ferrari team. I don't think you can see them behind me. They're great support today, but of course we don't know for sure that Michael can take that championship. 3 points will leave Michael in a strong chance. Coulthard will have to win all the remaining Grand Prix of the year, with Michael scoring nothing whatsoever. But another little fact, if Michael leads 41 laps or more today, he will also become the highest ever driver for leading a Grand Prix in distance and in number of laps. I don't know if we can have a little poke in here and get to anybody. The car's quite late on the grid, so let's just see if we can get you in the thick of the action and just see how much attention is going on around that car. They've been working on it all through the weekend, all morning, and still there just seems to be so much to do. And apparently Michael's been through the gravel trap in this car on the way round to the grid, and that's unusual for a formation lap, isn't it? And that's probably why Ross Brawn is having a jolly good look underneath the car, and we're not going to get a word out of that lot. They've got a problem here, so there's no point in hanging around. Let's Nicky. Right, he's not up for a word either, and who we got down here it's Boris Becker talking to Michael Schumacher at this end of the grid, and Bernie Ecclestone and co. And again, I think we're going to struggle to get in here today, but there's Michael trying to get ready to win his 4th World Championship, having a good old chit-chat with Boris. I don't know if we can... Boris, any chance of a word for British TV? I think that's a 9, isn't it? I'll see if I can... Any chance of a word with Boris for British TV? Thanks, Bernie. Hi, what did Michael have to say to you, Boris? Thanks for talking to us.
Actually, we talked about a soccer match we organized this summer. He organized, and I couldn't make it. And He said, next time I have to play again.
Don't you find that amazing that his mind is there when he should...
Relaxed. I don't know how he does it. He is so calm under all this noise, and he's the most calm person around here.
It must be like sort of heading for your 4th Wimbledon title or something as he's standing on the grid today for his 4th World Championship.
Well, when I was playing Wimbledon final, I wasn't nearly as calm as he's right now. I don't know how he does it.
It's amazing, isn't it? And do you think he's going to do it?
I think he's in very good shape, yeah.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. Really appreciate it. I don't know how long I've got left because I can only barely... I've got a minute and a half left, apparently. So what about Coulthard? Who'd want to be in his shoes today? He, I know, wants to focus and concentrate on getting his start right. He's standing over there quietly and patiently waiting. But I know that he just wants to keep his head totally into getting off the line, the dirty side of the grid. He's got his rival for the championship ahead of him, alongside him, as it were, slightly to the left, but just behind him, it's like a championship table. Rubens Barrichello, 7 points behind, 4th in the World Championship. We know he's got a fast car underneath him. Can McLaren today find the kind of performance they found last year to just go and dominate this race, surprising everybody? And here's Ralph, 3rd place man in the championship, lines up absolutely behind David Coulthard. He's just 6 points behind. So this is Coulthard's dilemma. He's got to beat Michael Schumacher today. He's got to fend off these 2 drivers behind him. And then we're down to Jarno Trulli here in 5th place on the grid. He's going to want a strong showing today. Got Jean Alesi in the team trying to give him a big prod. We've had Eddie Jordan telling you how important it is to score some World Championship points. And finally then, down to 6th place. Surely Häkkinen can't pull this one out of the bag for his 3rd consecutive win here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let's see if we can just have a quick word with Ron Dennis. I'm sorry to butt in. I've got a few seconds left. Can your cars win this race today, Ron?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The circumstances, that's another thing, but we can win.
OK, thank you, and back to you in the studio.
Well done, Martin. Thank you very much indeed. A glance of Rubens Barrichello there, Boris Becker and Michael Schumacher chatting football. Michael Schumacher off the circuit. A little word of caution, though. Last year in Hungary, Michael Schumacher and the Ferrari were also in a class of their own until the race when Häkkinen and McLaren found the sweet spot. David Coulthard has never won here. He needs a flyer. Don't forget, a Michael Schumacher victory equals the championship. The Constructors' title could go to Ferrari as well. It's all up for grabs in Hungary.
good job of cleaning the helmet, did he?
Ich glaube, du siehst schon Gespenster.
You're with ITV Sport for race 13 of F1 2001, the Hungarian Grand Prix. Nigel Mansell clinched his world title here 9 years ago, and now Michael Schumacher is poised for an action replay. Let's join Martin Brundle and Murray Walker. How do you see it, Murray?
Well, Jim, this is the calm, mature voice of reason speaking. This is a mammoth day on a mammoth occasion in a mega place, but don't let's preempt things. It isn't all over bar the shouting for Michael Schumacher. Like I always say, anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. And here in Hungary, it certainly isn't over until the fat lady sings. The next 1 3/4 hours will show us whether Michael Schumacher is going to be singing the blues or a triumphant aria. And who would have thought, when he went out to join the grid, that Michael Schumacher, of all people, would go across the gravel trap at considerable velocity at turn 12. Now, you saw Martin trying to get into the Ferrari people to talk to them. Look at them now. There has been a major harouche going on down there. They've got out the sticky tape, they've replaced a barge board, and just little things like that can upset the equilibrium of a team, can damage the car slightly. And David Coulthard, of course, is ready to take advantage of any weakness that Ferrari show him. Because, as we all know, it's now or never in Hungary for David Coulthard and the McLaren team. It means so much to them, it means so much to Ferrari. They've won the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari, for the last 2 years. How they would love to make it a hat-trick. And Michael Schumacher, if he gets the World Championship here, will be the first driver in the history of Formula One to win 2 World Championships for 2 different constructors. Only 2 people have had 4 World Championships before, Alain Prost, of course, and the great Juan Manuel Fangio. And neither of them got 2 for 2 different constructors. Now, at the Hungaroring, the long straight that you're looking at there, or comparatively long straight, leads into turn 1, a tricky double 90-degree right-hander which falls away. And it does mean that the cars and drivers have got a longer run at that first corner than they have at some circuits, like, for instance, Monaco. And hopefully there's considerably less chance, therefore, of a coming together. We've had it before. We've had a coming together on turn 3, which is where they start the climb up this circuit. Wonderful place to watch a Grand Prix, and very, very, very difficult, like Monaco, indeed notoriously difficult to pass on. But Nigel Mansell proved in 1989 that it's more than possible to pass, because he started 12th on the grid, 12th on the grid for Ferrari, which is where, coincidentally, Jean Alesi is in the Jordan, and he fought through to win the race with a magnificent passing manoeuvre on Ayrton Senna's McLaren and Nigel in the Ferrari. So, things building for David Coulthard. Very significant, I thought, Martin, that as a chap who knows David so well, you deliberately kept away from him on the grid.
I think, David wants to do absolutely the best he can. He wants to win as many races as he can, and does not want to psychologically give up on that World Championship until it's mathematically gone. And I think that's the only attitude you can take. You never know. As Luca Di Montezemolo said, the boss man of Ferrari, in the last 4 weeks, Michael's had 2 enormous accidents, and both Ferraris dropped out of the last Grand Prix, so it's not over until it's over. We've seen Michael Schumacher going through the gravel trap already today on the outlap. We know he's been busy changing the front wing settings, which absolutely amazes me. They're still tweaking the car, although they do have a reasonable known quantity of track temperature equals X amount of front aero balance or whatever. They do have a graph they work to, but surely this race is not an absolute given this afternoon, Murray.
Yeah, and you probably don't know this, Martin, because you've rushed up from the grid, but they've actually had to change a barge board on Michael Schumacher's Ferrari, and the old roll of the ubiquitous sticky tape was out.
Oh, it's won a few Grand Prix before, hasn't it, the old gaffer tape. But Coulthard, we also know, had a bit of a gearbox gremlin, so they've changed the spare car from Häkkinen's name into his name and setting, so Coulthard's car not exactly absolutely perfect either.
Here we go then. This is the beginning of the action. Not the race action. This, of course, is the formation lap. You've gone round this circuit with Martin and seen what it's like. Now you can do the same thing as the grid in the background clears, and the temperature here, I can tell you, is now 41 degrees, the track temperature. This race is going to last some 1¾ hours. It's one of the longest in terms of time Grand Prix that there is. It's enormously grueling for the drivers, tough on the cars, tough on the brakes, tough on the gearboxes, tough on so many things. So they're climbing up to and out of turn 5 in this 14-turn circuit now, which is where the wiggly bits begin.
Yeah, you see a lot of unforced errors at this racetrack during the course of a race, or you can do, because it is so dirty just offline. It's a very narrow line through the entire distance of this 2.5-mile circuit, and we saw it even in the F3000 Formula 3000 race yesterday. People, good drivers, making silly unforced errors, but at this highest of high levels in Formula 1, we shouldn't be seeing too much of it this afternoon, but the pace is going to be hard. It's a breathless racetrack. It really, just like Monte Carlo, you've been going for what seems an eternity, and they hang you out a pit board that says 50 laps to go, and you can't believe it.
So, how about Ralf Schumacher? 4th on the grid, which I think is better than he and Williams and BMW and Michelin, whose tyres they are using, expected him to be. His teammate, Juan Pablo Montoya, down in 8th position. There is Tasso Marquez in the Minardi bringing up the rear.
Now the smart cookies that are starting on the right-hand side of the very, very dirty line here should have been this morning running down that side, trying to at least clean some of it. Only 2 or 3 of them did, one of whom was Coulthard, who has the greatest need to find some bite, some grip, as he tries to apply over 800 horsepower traction control or not through the 2 skinny rear tyres.
And you saw the streaks of rubber in front of Coulthard's car, where they've deliberately been spinning wheels to put rubber on the track to maximise the grip. The Doctor's car comes up in the background, and watch those lights in the bottom left corner of your screen. 1 on, 2 on, 3 on, 4 on, 5 on now, and it is go, 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 and good start for Schumacher, good start for Coulthard, better start for Barrichello. Barrichello's gained a pace. This is what Ferrari want. Bad start by David Coulthard. There is Jarno Trulli coming up, and diving through on the inside is Ralf Schumacher. But it's Michael Schumacher leading, Barrichello second.
Jaguar off in the first corner in the gravel trap. Eddie Irvine out of the race already, and that is not a safety car or red flag situation. And a Minardi rejoining the racetrack too at turn 2. But it was curious to start, Murray. They all got, I was looking out of the window while you were taking us through it. All the front got away well, but the McLaren did not seem to accelerate in the same way that the Ferrari did through the second phase of the start, if you like, and Barrichello simply drove past David Coulthard down towards the first corner.
And it's a dream scenario for Ferrari this early in the race. Michael Schumacher, clear track in front of him, his teammate Rubens Barrichello behind him. Look at the gap. I'm not accusing Barrichello of starting to delay the people behind him already, but it's going to be wonderful for Michael Schumacher to know, and he will know, that he's got a scarlet buffer between him and the third place man who he fears in this race, or had every reason to fear in this race, with David Coulthard up there, and away goes Schumacher. Barrichello, Coulthard behind him.
And the crowd erupts outside the commentary box window. They want a Ferrari victory this afternoon, the vast majority of them anyway. And at the moment, of course, it is looking good. 1.3 seconds ahead of Barrichello over the start-finish line was Michael Schumacher. And already then Coulthard closing up to the gearbox of Barrichello. but as we know well, it's difficult to pass there. You have to muscle your way through at this racetrack.
No change at the top from the grid position. Schumacher leads. Yes, there is. Barrichello ahead of Coulthard, down to third. Ralf Schumacher started fourth, is fourth. Trulli started fifth, is fifth. Let's hope he keeps going. He's had so much bad luck this year. Mika Häkkinen started sixth, is sixth. And Nick Heidfeld in the sail. Here we go.
Here's the start, and watch the first three cars. They're all the way absolutely in unison. Coulthard tries to cover his line, but look, just does not have the acceleration. Unless Barrichello is significantly lighter, I think that's down to electronics, effectively, and we're just going to miss in the background Eddie Irvine falling initially off the track, and finally we see him spinning into the gravel and out of retirement already. I think it was simply a driver error. Did not appear to trip over anybody, and Irvine buries the throttle, but he's not getting out of there. And this will be the incident with the Minardi at turn 2. Found himself running out of space on the outside, and again, just really driver error.
OK, but let's consider this. We haven't talked about strategy yet because we don't know what it is. It is not inconceivable, surely, that McLaren are hoping and intending to stay out longer than Ferrari, in which case they would have a heavier fuel load, and you can see the McLaren there, and in fourth place it is Ralf Schumacher. So maybe there is a strategical consideration. We're expecting them all to do 2 stops. Eddie Irvine making his way back after a very short race.
You sure he's not trying to make his way out of the circuit there? I imagine Eddie will not be too pleased, and nor will Jaguar at that first corner incident. But Michael then stretching that lead to, well, actually just a fraction over 1.3 seconds still on this lap. He's about a tenth of a second up. It's Coulthard who's beginning to pile on some fast sector times now, but he's going to have a job leapfrogging that Ferrari of Barrichello's. Michael looking like he's in cruise mode already.
Yeah, it's just a 2.5-mile circuit, riding with Coulthard, starting again.
Yes, a nice overhead shot then. Look, he goes to cover his line. He probably should have been much more aggressive. Barrichello is literally just going to power past down to that first corner, and well, there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. So let's see. I don't think any, I mean, 3 stopping could well be the fastest way, but if you get caught up in traffic, forget it. So 2 stop is the optimum. A 1 stop costs you another 20 seconds. The only way you do that is if you were towards the middle of the pack. I have a feeling Michelin runners are not coming to the party today, Murray.
No, well, David Coulthard is a long way from giving up. We had Rubens Barrichello do a fastest lap. We're on lap 4 out of 77 now, incidentally. David Coulthard has just replied with a 1:19.6, and that compares with Nigel Mansell's all-time record of 1:18.3. That was way back in 1992 with the all-singing, all-dancing Williams-Renault. And you can see that Coulthard there in the silver and black McLaren, who we are with now, is hanging on to Barrichello in front of him.
Turn 11 then, a little gentle fall down to 12, where Coulthard tore the bottom out of his car in free practice on Friday. That suddenly put him on his back foot through the rest of practice and qualifying, and he's going to be sitting there moaning and hating the fact that he did not manage to get ahead of Barrichello into that, or stay ahead of Barrichello into that first corner. It's going to compromise the rest of his afternoon, no doubt about it.
Well, James Allen, what's the news?
Well, I'm looking at last year's records, Murray, and the McLarens did come in later for their first stops. Häkkinen came in on lap 31 and Coulthard lap 32, whereas Michael Schumacher was in on lap 27. So it's quite possible they are carrying a little bit more fuel, perhaps another 10 kilos. But as Martin was saying, tactically, the advantage has definitely been handed to Ferrari now. David Coulthard did not want Rubens Barrichello in front of him.
Thanks, James. Yes, Michael Schumacher can run his race undoubtedly. He knows what he's on. He won here in 1994 for Benetton. He won here in 1998 for Ferrari, and he was second last year. So he knows the Hungaro ring. So does Rubens Barrichello, of course, who was fourth last year in his first season for Ferrari. And David Coulthard, he's done well here. He's had a couple of second places, he's had a third place, and the 3 top men are way out front. And it's been all this talk about Mika Häkkinen going off the boil. Well, he started 6th, and he is still only in 6th position. And at the present moment, it looks as though Jenson Button is getting a 10-second penalty.
Yes, some kind of incident at the start. Jenson Button, who is down in 16th position. We're assuming that he jumped the start. He did indeed jump the start, so Jenson Button with a stop-go penalty. Louise is with Eddie Irvine.
I am indeed, Martin. Eddie, was that just one of your do-or-die starts that didn't quite come off?
No, I honestly don't know. The start was bad because I'm on the wrong side of the grid, so I lost the place to Fisichella. Then I got on the outside, and I was just going around the outside. Next thing the car snapped sideways. I don't know whether someone hit me or whether I just lost it. I have no idea.
Bad luck.
10 seconds covering the top 6 now. Michael Schumacher has now decided to get the pedal down. He has just gone faster than either Barrichello or Coulthard behind him, and so he's going to start pulling it away a bit. The gap now is some 1.5 seconds between him and his second man, Rubens Barrichello.
There's plenty of time this afternoon if he wants to suddenly put a spurt on, as Häkkinen did here last year. But remember, another little trick that Michael pulled yesterday. He only did 2 flying laps in qualifying, both of which would comfortably have put him on pole position, therefore saving a further 2 sets of those critical 7 sets of tyres he's had to run since qualifying. So we know when he comes in for a pit stop, he will always have the best of the tyres, providing he doesn't get a road set or an out of balance set, but it usually is worth taking the risk. And now Coulthard, for some reason, just struggling by a 1/10 of a second a lap to hang on to those 2 Ferraris.
4/10 of a second pace between Ralf Schumacher in 4th place and Michael Schumacher, who is leading the race. And already Ralf Schumacher is over 7 seconds in 4th place behind the race leader, Michael Schumacher.
And Button in the pits, out of view of you at the moment. Jenson Button in for his stop and go penalty to add just a little bit more misery to his season. There he is now.
Yeah, poor Jenson. He qualified well down, and he was only 22nd in the warm-up this morning. But nevertheless, Benetton are very, very upbeat. They have a completely new aerodynamic package. They have all sorts of engine modifications. They say things haven't worked. Look at that front wing, very like the Ferrari wing, which has set the model for new front wings this season. But Benetton are much more optimistic about the rest of the season, although Jenson Button hasn't got very much to shout about at the present moment. And his teammate Fisichella is well down the pecking order. He's in 14th place as over the line comes Schumacher, Barrichello, David Coulthard, and we are already in this race over 1/10 distance. 7 laps completed, 77 lap race.
A new fastest lap of the race for Coulthard that time around, a 1:18.975, and the gap down to just 0.8 of a second. Michael, I wonder just how comfortable he is with his car. We know he's been through the gravel trap. Of course, they would have changed the tyres. You always change the tyres anyway to minimise the risk of a puncture on the outlap, because there have been other races, been a Porsche Super Cup race, for example, and occasionally you do get debris, so they don't risk punctures. So we know he'll be on a better set of tyres anyway. But he is not really stretching away quite as I would imagine, and Barrichello and Coulthard comfortably just keeping him in range.
Yeah, Ralf Schumacher on his own in 4th place. Bit of a ding-dong going on between Jarno Trulli 5th and Mika Häkkinen, who is 6th in the McLaren. Now, you heard Jim Rosenthal say earlier on that if Ferrari can finish 7 points ahead of the McLaren team in this race, they will take the Constructors' Championship. Well, they're on a possible 16 points at the present moment, and McLaren are on a possible 5 points at the moment. But there's a long, long way to go before this race is completed. And as you can see, the top 3 are as much together now as they have been at any time during the race. And Rubens Barrichello starts to speed up.
Yes, he's matched the 18.9 a fraction faster, so they're very evenly matched to the front. Ralf Schumacher not too tardy either. Mika Häkkinen having a bit of a false look down the inside, trying to distract Jarno Trulli. Trulli 5th, Häkkinen 6th. We're still in grid position, with the exception of Barrichello moving ahead of Coulthard for that 2nd place. But Ralf Schumacher pretty much keeping pace with the leaders, albeit some 5.5 seconds behind David Coulthard.
And Jordan, of course, desperately want Constructors' points. They're only down in 6th position in the Constructors' contest, just 1 point behind the BAR team and 4 points behind the Sauber team. Now, we haven't said anything about the Sauber runners so far, I can tell you, but Nick Heidfeld is the faster of the two at the present moment. He's in 7th place in the race where he started on the grid. His teammate Kimi Raikkonen is 9th where he started. Jam between them is Juan Pablo Montoya, who started 8th and is 8th. So the significant thing about the race so far, in terms of the top 10 or so, is the fact that Rubens Barrichello got ahead of David Coulthard into 2nd place at the start. You've heard us say ad nauseam how difficult it is to pass at the Hungaroring, and you are seeing living proof of it now as Mika Häkkinen sits behind the rear wing of Jarno Trulli's Jordan.
Yes, and he's lapping about 1.5 seconds slower than I think the potential of that car. That's what Coulthard's doing up the front. 2 times a world champion, one of the all-time great Formula 1 drivers, Mika Häkkinen. If he's got an Achilles heel, Murray, when he gets buried down the pack a little bit, he doesn't seem always to be able to do anything about it as Luciano Berti spins out of the race in Prost number 23.
Yeah, Mika, you're quite right, Martin. Mika likes to be out front, and then he is peerless.
If he can just hook that into reverse, I think he's got a better chance of reversing out of there than going forwards. Put it in reverse and you may just survive for another few laps.
You've got the edge on him because you can see his rear wheels and he can't.
No, that's a fact.
So, no, he's out. He looks as though he's out. And Barrichello is now less than a second behind the leader. As you see here, Jarno Trulli and Pedro de la Rosa.
I think it'll be a Lacey, won't it?
It is, you're right,
a Lacey, P13, trying to take P12 away from Pedro de la Rosa. Does he make it stick around the outside into turn 2? I'll be seriously impressed if he does. And well, that was too easy. In no way De La Rosa should have allowed that to happen. Nice move, brilliant move from Alesi. Set him up into turn 1, made it stick into turn 2, and a well-earned 12th position.
Yeah, just remember the top 3, who are, of course, Schumacher, Barrichello, Coulthard. Here are the rest. 4th is Ralf Schumacher as 13 walks in. 5th is Jarno Trulli, 6th is Häkkinen. 7th is Nick Heidfeld, just behind Häkkinen. 8th is Montoya and 9th is Raikkonen. 10th is Panis, 11th is Villeneuve. So Panis is doing very well indeed. Jean Alesi, you've just seen move up into 12th position in his first race in the Jordan, ahead of Pedro de la Rosa, the sole Jaguar left. Giancarlo Fisichella, who is in 14th position. 15th is Jos Verstappen, then it's Alonso, Bernaldi and Frentzen ahead of Marquez, and Button is 20th, and that is about it, with Eddie Irvine out of the race.
Yeah, I can see you, Enrique. Switch the car off. Enrique, switch the car off.
Lap 13 out of 77 at the Hungaro ring, and it is continuing to look very good indeed for Michael Schumacher as his teammate Rubens Barrichello retains second place, and the arrows are there of Enrique Benoldi is removed from the track. We didn't see him go off, but he obviously went into the gravel trap and out of the race. And now here is Michael Schumacher closing up to lap.
We've seen, I think, two significant laps where Barrichello unquestionably slowed down. He's slowed by over a second a lap. Michael put in a couple of real sprinters to move the gap forward to 4.1 seconds. They will be keeping an eye on Coulthard. He's near enough to be a nuisance to Michael Schumacher this afternoon. And, of course, they'll be wondering just how much fuel he's got on board. They will know that Coulthard was very fast in the warm-up this morning. Plus, of course, Michael is coming up to traffic. So they've built themselves a gap. A bit of team play going on here now from Ferrari. Michael with a 4-second cushion to give him more comfort through the back markers.
Well, it's certainly turning out to be a character-building year for Jenson Button. He's just been lapped by Michael Schumacher, as has Tarso Marquez, who is in 20th position, 18th position ahead of Jenson Button. And you've seen Benoldi go out of the race, Bertie is out of the race, Irvine is out of the race. So 3 retirements, 19 left, lap 14. Schumacher's lead is increasing all the time, unless going over that gravel track damaged his car in some way, which seems very unlikely from the way he's going. He is looking good.
And Coulthard needs to get intimate with the gearbox of Rubens Barrichello's Ferrari. They're coming up to the 2 back markers, and a good chance for him to hopefully get in the thick of it, and maybe one of his few chances this afternoon of passing that Ferrari. You had a quick flash of Panis there, I think it was, who's currently back in 10th place in the BAR. So Michael Schumacher now 4.4 seconds ahead.
Running report on the World Championship situation. Michael Schumacher has to finish 3 points ahead of David Coulthard to put it beyond his reach, and he is now some 6 points ahead. He's on a potential 10 points, Coulthard is on a potential 4 points, and Barrichello is still between them.
And if my mathematics are correct, Ferrari are on for taking the Constructors' World Championship as well in these current positions. They need just 6 points more than McLaren today to become, once again, the World Constructors' Champions.
Unless I am very much mistaken, Martin, you're absolutely right. I thought it was 7, but it is 7. So 7 points between Ferrari and McLaren, and it will be the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari as well as the Drivers' Championship for Michael Schumacher. But as I said earlier on, it is not over until the winner sees the checkered flag.
You're including tact in 7, aren't you? I'm going to work it out again. I'm sure it's 6.
Michael Schumacher, lap 16, lead 5.3 seconds, and coming towards us now, Ralf Schumacher, who has lapped Tarso Marquez. Well, we expected the BMW-powered Michelin-shod Williams runners not to do as well at the Hungaro ring as they have done at other circuits, notably Hockenheim 2 weeks ago when, Hockenheim at the end of July when Ralf Schumacher won, and of course Canada when Ralf Schumacher won, and Imola where he did the same thing. And that's because of the characteristics of the car and the circuit. And Ferrari have continued developing their car in spite of the fact that they are already working on the 2002 car to replace this one. They want this championship desperately. It matters to them historically, realistically, financially, for the pride of themselves, the pride of Italy. And they're pushing, led by Jean Todt, Rory Byrne, Ross Brawn and Paolo Martinelli, the engine man. And there have even been modifications to the engine for this race, as well as a special aerodynamic package. Here comes the battle for second place, led by Rubens Barrichello, followed by David Coulthard, as the race leader goes into turn 2 and now turn 3.
That 1:18.1, I think, is a new lap record, Murray, isn't it? I think that finally beats the Mansell time of 92. So a new lap record of this circuit then after 16 years of Grand Prix racing here. Michael Schumacher definitely on a charge, and Coulthard was beginning to fall back from Barrichello. He's had to put a spurt on. He too is down in the low 1:18s.
And of course Michael Schumacher is in a glorious rhythm now. He took pole position, he got away first, he's increased his lead all the time, and he's in that delightful position of having the rhythm going, and he's carving his way through the field. And look at it, clear track in front of him, clear track behind him.
And he's half a minute ahead of 6th place man Mika Häkkinen.
Yes, double world champion Mika Häkkinen, the man who won here last year by taking a magnificent start from 3rd on the grid, going past David Coulthard, past pole position holder Michael Schumacher last year. And Häkkinen controlled the race from the front last year, as Michael Schumacher is doing now. Cloud of dust there.
Yeah, Coulthard running wide in the last turn, goes over the line, still in fact, an absolutely identical time for Barrichello and Coulthard, 1:18.587, 0.02 of a second. And Coulthard kicking up the dust as he's desperately trying to find a way of getting on the power earlier in the final corner to chase down those 2 Ferraris.
So how are we going for pit stops? This is lap 18. If Ferrari do the same this year as they did last year, they will be in round about 9 laps from now. The first of them, which would obviously be Michael Schumacher, but we'll have to wait and see. They might be on a different strategy. The McLarens, as we said earlier on, stayed out for another 4 laps last year, and it may well be that they'll do the same and that David Coulthard could potentially take the lead, but then of course it would all change when he had to come in. At least that's the usual theory. But this race is going to depend just as much as all the others have in the past since pit stops began, not just on the car, not just on the driver, but on those mechanics who drill and drill and drill to refuel the cars and replace 4 tyres and wheels. And we must not forget that the fuel rigs recently, had the new ones that were introduced this year, have given a lot of trouble.
Wouldn't surprise me if Barrichello came in earlier than the other 2 stoppers. It would be smart of Ferrari to give him a lesser fuel load. He was on the grippy side of the track behind Michael on the grid, and he had a good chance of beating Coulthard down to that first corner, which is exactly what happened. But we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. We'll be back shortly.
Michael Schumacher continuing to carve his way through the field on lap 21 out of 77, having started from that meteoric pole position so much faster than the second place man on the grid, David Coulthard, and he's really rubbing in the joint superiority of his car and his ability here at the Hungaroring today. David Coulthard seems to have got the message again. Maybe he is now having a real attack on Rubens Barrichello, because he's just done the fastest first sector of the race. What do I mean by first sector? Well, this circuit, as ever, is split up into 3 parts. The first part goes from the start to turn 4, and the second part goes up to round about turn 12. And then the completion of the lap that counts for the third sector. And they are all individually timed, and the drivers know exactly what is happening because they have an electronic readout on the dashboard, though how on earth they have the time to look at them is beyond me.
Just gives them a plus and a minus, so they pretty much know whether they're up or down. They don't really have time to think about how much, but they get an indicator of it. That's more for qualifying really than the race. It's obviously relevant or relative performances to the other cars that's more important, as Michael Schumacher laps Giancarlo Fisichella, current 14th place man. And at this rate, before half distance, Michael Schumacher is going to be lapping the likes of Hakkinen and Trulli up there in 5th and 6th positions.
Jenson Button surges through just as Alonso comes out of the pits. And now here is Michael Schumacher closing up on the sole Jaguar left in the race after Eddie Irvine's departure into the gravel trap on lap 1. It's Pedro de la Rosa. And this enables you to compare the comparative performances of the Jaguar with its Ford Cosworth engine and the Ferrari with its Ferrari engine. And the way, look, you see, De La Rosa moves over and lets him through.
Yeah, blue flags are waving. De La Rosa on Michelin's, of course. That's the big difference today, I think, as much as anything, because Michelin, for whatever reason, having been so strong in the previous few races, have not bought a tyre that really bites into this very, very slick racetrack. They've not been able to really bite hold of this particular type of tarmac, and that's why the best Michelin runner, Ralf Schumacher, is now nearly 20 seconds behind his brother Michael in 4th position.
So if Michael Schumacher keeps it up, here is Fisichella out of the pits. He's just completed his sole pit stop. Alonso has been in, Frentzen has been in, Jenson Button has been in. None of the top 13 drivers have yet stopped, but we are getting towards the first of 2 pit stops levels. We're on lap 23 now, and we can expect them to come in 3, 4, 5 laps time.
It's always a scary moment when, as Coulthard was then, you're second man through. So often they don't see you. I got taken out of the Detroit Grand Prix exactly that way once when I was lapping with Alboreto in the Ferrari. We were moving through the field, and so often, and it happens so many times, the driver you're lapping realizes there's one car, but if you're really in close formation, he doesn't always know there are 2 of you coming along, can so often turn in on the second of the 2 cars.
Now, just to tell you how difficult it is to pass here, between the 5th and the 9th men on the track, that's Jarno Trulli, Hakkinen, Heidfeld, Montoya and Kimi Räikkönen, there is just 2.7 seconds. We haven't seen them, but it is a very, very high-speed crocodile.
Michael's playing games. He's just done a 1:17.4, smashing even his new lap record. He's absolutely playing around this afternoon, and just he'll put the spurts in when he has to. He's got it absolutely under control. Only reliability can now stop, or some kind of pit stop problem can now stop Michael Schumacher becoming 4 times world champion.
Yeah, and that fastest lap he's just done was faster than his own pole position time last year. Here's the crocodile I was telling you about. Look at them, absolutely nose to tail. That is Kimi Räikkönen in 9th position. Ahead of him is Montoya in the Williams. Ahead of him is Heidfeld in the Sauber. And ahead of him is Mika Hakkinen. So they're all looking for a way past, but none of them are succeeding in finding it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? 3 of that pack, Murray, have been linked with taking Mika Hakkinen's seat if he decides to retire. So Trulli, Heidfeld and Räikkönen all being strongly linked if Hakkinen decides not to re-up, or whatever is going on there at McLaren for next year, and a lot of intrigue around that.
Well, the World Championship, if Michael Schumacher succeeds in staying where he is. Really is starting to look like a fait accompli. The situation between David Coulthard and Ralf Schumacher for second in the championship, as you watch Mika Häkkinen pursuing Jarno Trulli, trying, is that Coulthard, of course, in third position, has got an edge over Ralf Schumacher, who's got to get past him and pull away if he is to challenge David Coulthard, second place in the World Championship, and over the line.
Häkkinen has a good position for a good slipstream, but he's absolutely nowhere near by the end of the straight. Well, certainly nowhere near chance to overtake. Had a bit of a wild go, got on the dirty side of the track, and that's what sent Eddie Irvine off in the first corner. Managed to still hold off Nick Heidfeld, but Häkkinen looking increasingly frustrated, quite clearly can lap much faster. There's some 2 to 3 seconds off the leading pace. They're nearly 50 seconds now, this group from fifth downwards, behind the leader. James is in the pits with Montoya.
Well, Montoya is the man definitely to watch in this pack, guys. I was talking to the strategist before the race, and one of the tactics around here at the Hungary ring, if you're a fast car out of position, is to run a one-stop fuel load. As you can see, Jarno Trulli just ducking through the back markers. And if Montoya is doing that today, this has played very much into his hands. He's in this pack, and of course, he has one less fuel stop to make than the guys he's racing against. So keep an eye out for him, because that tactic, if he's done it, will push him up ahead of Jarno Trulli into fourth place in the race.
Yeah, could score him a point or two this afternoon. I should have said James is with information on Montoya, not actually with him, because as is absolutely clear, he's currently 8th in the race.
Jarno Trulli and Mika Häkkinen 5th and 6th, and nothing, the flying Finn, as he signs himself, will enable him at the present moment to get past the flying Italian. Eddie Jordan there and Ian Phillips not too unhappy with what they are seeing, because Jarno Trulli started 5th on the grid. He's retained that position. He's kept Mika Häkkinen behind him. Häkkinen has kept Heidfeld behind him. Heidfeld has done the same with Montoya, and Montoya has done the same thing with Kimi Räikkönen. And Olivier Panis is ahead of Jacques Villeneuve in 10th and 11th places. They started in a reverse situation, because Villeneuve was 10th on the grid and Panis was in 11th place. And in 12th position, Jean Alesi, who has carved his way up into the place where he is now. We're on lap 27 in the 77-lap Hungarian Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher is now 12.6 seconds ahead of his teammate Rubens Barrichello, having made the fastest lap on lap 23 out of 77. And let's just enjoy this. Trulli in the yellow Jordan with the Honda engine, Mika Häkkinen in the silver and black McLaren with the Mercedes-Benz engine, followed by the Ferrari-powered car of Nick Heidfeld.
It's strange, isn't it? We've often seen some great qualifying performances from Trulli over the years, and particularly this year, but he always seems to be slightly on his back foot during the race. They tell me the Jordan can eat its rear tyres quite quickly, and they don't seem to give that performance. I don't know if that's true or not, or whether it's Trulli's mindset. We know he's super fit, we know he's super fast, but he always seems to be just slightly under pressure and going backwards rather than going forwards. And I think that really summarises probably why Eddie Jordan has so much frustration that his team haven't delivered their promise this year.
Yeah, but if Trulli can keep it on the track, he's in a point-scoring position, 2 points at the present moment, and the Jordan team are only 1 point behind BAR in the Constructors' Championship, so that would leapfrog them up a place, which Eddie Jordan would very much like. He's had a very, very hard time, as you will have gathered when he was talking to Jim Rosenthal and Tony Jardine in the studio before the race began, in that gap, that holiday gap between this race and the previous one in Germany, as a result of having to negotiate Alesi into his car and negotiate very firmly Heitz Harold Frentzen out of it. Frentzen is in 15th place, Alesi is 12th.
I think I saw Heidfeld just duck into the pits out of that pack. Yes, indeed he has. So Heidfeld, one of the earlier of the two stoppers. Panis in the pits too. We're into the pit stop windows, no doubt about it. So there's Panis, we believe. There's the Ferrari mechanics. They're also getting ready. Who I would have thought it would be Barrichello that's in first. Michael currently, now it's Michael. Schumacher is in first, so there he is. He's 12.8 seconds ahead. Last time past the start finish line, James.
Well, we're looking for something like 7 seconds here on this pit stop. But interestingly, guys, in the last 4 laps, Schumacher has doubled his lead here. So it's been an absolutely astonishing performance by him. Very good indeed as he goes back out in front. But it was a key moment there just before that stop, because on lap 22 he was 7.5 seconds ahead of Coulthard. He was 14.5 before ahead of him when he came in for this stop.
And brand new tyres then on the Ferrari, and Michael rejoining just in front of fourth place, who was fourth place, Ralf Schumacher. In fact, he stays fourth, doesn't he? He has not leapfrogged Michael. Michael will be mighty relieved that he managed to get out just in front of his brother. That's another key element of putting together this afternoon's race for Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, so it means, of course, that Rubens Barrichello leads the race now on lap 29, with David Coulthard into second place. Michael Schumacher has done it absolutely right. Here come Jarno Trulli and Mika Häkkinen, pursued now by Juan Pablo Montoya, who has gained a place as a result of Nick Heidfeld going into the pits. And here is Jenson Button, and he is already a lap down. This is his second stop. Jenson Button has been in before in the Benetton. Here he is exiting the pit lane, making sure he stays inside that white line. Remember how Ralf Schumacher lost out before.
Yes, and Jenson, of course, his first stop of the afternoon was a stop-and-go penalty for jumping the start. But we hear Jordan are also getting ready, so maybe Trulli coming in this time around, and then you'll see Häkkinen get the hammer down for a few laps. And I think if Häkkinen can stay out longer than Trulli, he will surely clear the Jordan up into fifth place.
Rubens Barrichello leads. David Coulthard is second. Michael Schumacher has stopped and is third. Ralf Schumacher is fourth, has not stopped. Trulli is still fifth ahead of Mika Häkkinen. Those are the top 6. Montoya is up into 7th. Villeneuve is up into 8th. Jean Alesi is now in 9th position from 12th.
Trulli in the pits then, so Häkkinen's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. He'll need to clear that early and then pull out some of his stunning laps, and hopefully we'll pick up Trulli down the pit lane. We do. So fifth place man then, Trulli in towards the Jordan pit. Louise.
Yeah, Jarno making his way into the pit lane. He's actually been desperate to come in for the last couple of laps. He's been reporting that he's having problems with his tyres. The team have been saying to him, no, you've got to stay out. The only way that they're going to keep Mika Häkkinen behind them was by keeping Trulli out on the track in front of him. Give Häkkinen a couple of clear laps, which he will now have, and I think we'll see him going past.
And a disastrous stop for him there, 13-odd seconds. He seemed to be an age getting away. He couldn't get away. The car was not on the ground. That was the reason. The fuel hose was being laid down. It was a very strange stop there for Jarno Trulli. Couldn't see exactly what the problem was.
So here is the new race leader, Rubens Barrichello, pursued by David Coulthard, whose car runs a bit wide there. And now into the pits has come Ralf Schumacher, who was in 4th position. Now we're going to see, as streaking through on the inside goes the Ferrari, followed by the McLaren, past the Jordan, and it's still Barrichello, followed by David Coulthard, first and second. Ralf Schumacher is out of the pits. What's the situation with Mika Häkkinen? I'm looking to see him come past now.
Häkkinen's done a 1:21.2. It's now 1:19. He crosses the line now, 1:19. But with that desperately poor stop of Trulli's, I think Häkkinen should come out well ahead of Jarno Trulli. Ferrari getting ready again this time around. Clearly, that of course is for Rubens Barrichello. Will McLaren come out into the pit lane? No, they do not. So, leader Barrichello in this time around. That, I would assume, is Villeneuve in there. Yes, indeed it is. Villeneuve in for his stop. Häkkinen, Montoya definitely pushing on now. They've got a bit of clear space. Now Trulli is out of the way. Barrichello pulls up to his pit. Let's have a look. The fuel hose slow on there for Barrichello, no doubt about it. Fresh tyres on. Michael Schumacher crosses the line to retake the lead of the Grand Prix. Out comes Jean Alesi from his pit stop too. So Alesi rejoined. He was in 9th position. And here comes Barrichello. Coulthard leads the Grand Prix.
Yes, David Coulthard leading. Barrichello into the pits. Michael Schumacher has gone through. There is Barrichello out, so Michael Schumacher is now back in front of his number 2 in the Ferrari team. and David Coulthard has yet to come in. Now, we're now on the 32nd lap, which is where David Coulthard came in last year. Different car, of course, the fuel capacity, and the engine consumption is by no means necessarily the same.
Fastest man of anybody so far in the race through the first sector. Coulthard on an absolute charge, a reasonable mid-sector, 31.1 seconds, and attacking the entry to the corner heavily. McLaren mechanics in the pit lane. Coulthard taking the widest possible line to maximise his speed before he gets near the speed limiter zone, which is now, take it away, James.
David Coulthard then coming into the pits. This hasn't been the afternoon that he had inspected as he comes into his box, nice and precise. And interestingly, he's putting a fairly used left front tyre on a not so used right front tyre. He's got the engine gunning and he drops the clutch. He's furious and frustrated, but I don't think he really has an answer for the Ferrari onslaught this afternoon.
No, he hasn't. Schumacher has gone through. Now there is Barrichello coming towards us at the present moment as David Coulthard exits the pit lane. Is he going to be ahead? Yes, yes, David Coulthard is ahead of Rubens Barrichello. So a good pit stop for David Coulthard has put him ahead, and he's now sandwiched between race leader Michael Schumacher and the man who has been in second place for most of the race, that man, Rubens Barrichello.
While all that's been going on, Ralf Schumacher in the Williams has, with a new set of tyres, set a new lap record of a 1:17.2, but he's out of the picture quite a long way down in fourth place. But crucial then for Coulthard, he seemed to have a bit of a slipping clutch or something as he pulled away, did not get away particularly cleanly, but the McLaren mechanics were about 1.5 seconds faster. Coulthard's in lap, he was pumping in the red sectors, the fastest of the race, and that is what put him ahead of Rubens Barrichello. Montoya rejoins, he was in sixth when he came in. Does he manage to stay ahead of the two Saubers?
And is David Coulthard going to be able really to get the hammer down now and pull away from Rubens Barrichello and do something about Michael Schumacher in front of him? So it is the two top men in the World Championship now, and this race, as we well know, could be decided here, who are in first and second places. Michael Schumacher leading by a comfortable 14 seconds, with Rubens Barrichello there in third place, just about 2 seconds behind David Coulthard, and showing signs of dropping back. And it's important to establish that whilst they've come in and taken on more fuel and new tyres, it could well be that the new tyres that they've taken on give better performance than the old ones that they were on.
No doubt about that, but they're all in the same boats in that respect, I think, Murray. So it seems as if Coulthard is able to put some clear air quite quickly between himself and Barrichello. And can he pull in that 12-odd second gap that was apparent before the pit stops began, the lead that Michael Schumacher had? Coulthard then on a charge. He can still win this afternoon's Grand Prix. That was a crucial moment for him. Of course, they've all got one more stop yet, so the mechanics are going to come into play.
Yeah, and it's looking much better for David Coulthard in World Championship terms than it was when he was in third place. I remind you, Schumacher, Michael, has got to be 3 points ahead of David Coulthard in this race, on the results of this race, if he's to win the championship. At the present moment, he's 4 points ahead, with a potential 10 points for winning compared with David Coulthard's 6 points. But this is lap 35. It is a 77-lap race. Rubens Barrichello third.
12.6 seconds the gap then, as they've now finished and the computer sorted itself out from the pit stops. 12.6 seconds from Michael Schumacher to David Coulthard, but Coulthard 1.3 seconds faster on the previous lap. James, what can you tell us?
Well, he's putting the hammer down, and isn't it exciting? And I must say, I take it back about McLaren. I said Coulthard didn't have a response today for Ferrari, but the McLaren boys did a sensational job in that pit stop to get him back out in front of you. But just to show you how things can turn, remember Jarno Trulli's stop that you were talking about, Martin? You remember they said it wasn't exactly ideal. He was 5th when he came in to make that stop. He's now dropped down to 10th. So from Schumacher's point of view, he's got one more stop to make. Anything can happen in this motor race, particularly if Coulthard is able to put pressure on him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm sure Trulli a wheel wouldn't go on, or there was some kind of fuel rig problem or something. It was a fuel nozzle problem, we're hearing from the F1 ITV pit crew. So Trulli then, his chance of point scoring this afternoon looking pretty slim all of a sudden.
Yeah, yet another fuel rig problem. This new design of rig is not at all popular with the teams. I know that Ron Dennis has made some very, very vigorous representations about it to Charlie Whiting, who is the race director, and it's cost several teams places this year, not just through the nozzle failing to go on properly, but through the rig itself failing to deliver the predetermined amount of fuel that the teams had decided needed to go to their drivers' cars. Well, we'll see. Lap 36 now, getting on towards half distance in this 77 lap race, and you're watching race leader Michael Schumacher as he comes up to the Benetton of Giancarlo Fisichella, or is it Button? Anyway, it's to lap him for the second time. It's Jenson Button.
David Coulthard then took another second out of that lead last time around, down to 11.6. And sixth place man now, Kimi Raikkonen, in those pit stops managed to leapfrog Nick Heidfeld. So Raikkonen now the leading Sauber driver, Heidfeld 7th. Montoya didn't really make up as much as I thought he would. He's still down there in 8th place.
Yes, the man who suffered as a result of those pit stops, as James has just pointed out, of course, is Jarno Trulli. Michael Schumacher's retained his lead. David Coulthard has benefited from a better pit stop than Barrichello by moving up from 3rd to 2nd. Ralf Schumacher is still 4th. Häkkinen has moved up from 6th to 8th. And now Kimi Raikkonen, who's passed his teammate, is in the points at 6th position. And we are on lap 37.
Have you stalled, gents? Have you stalled? Okay, yeah.
Lap 39 out of the 77-lap Hungarian Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher leading, and a major problem for the Benetton of Jenson Button as we look at David Coulthard there in the McLaren in 2nd position. And look at this, there is Jenson Button. He's come out of turn 14, which is the last corner on the circuit. He stalled, spun and stalled the Benetton and can't get it going again. He's out of the car now, and the car has been dragged back as into the pits comes Mika Häkkinen from 5th position. Now, Kimi Raikkonen was some 28 seconds behind. Very, very quick, slick stop. Less than 7 seconds. That's lap 39, and the McLarens have stayed out much longer here this year than they did last year. And we're on lap 39 now, 77-lap race. Schumacher leading David Coulthard by 11 seconds. Coulthard lapping marginally faster, 4/10 of a second, but it's going to take a long time for 4/10 of a second a lap to carve into an 11-second lead as you look at the much-changed Benetton of Button being removed from the circuit.
Surprising that Jensen would spin off on the exit of a corner with traction control. But a neat solution they've got down there. They've actually opened the wall. They've obviously got a gate in the wall there. So Benetton out of harm's way, no need or any sign of safety cars, all carried out under waved yellows to tell the drivers, slow down. There are marshals on the racetrack, extreme caution, even be prepared to stop. I don't think many of them hurtle into double yellow flag situations with stopping in mind, it has to be said. But there obviously is the Minardi of Fernando Alonso beached.
And you can see how sticky those tyres are when they get heated up. They're quite big stones that have adhered to it as he ran across the gravel trap. Interesting situation in the Constructors' Championship now, because I reported earlier on that if Ferrari finished 7 points ahead of McLaren in this race, they would take the Constructors' Championship. That is exactly the situation at the present moment, with Michael Schumacher leading for Ferrari and his teammate Rubens Barrichello in 3rd place, 14 World Champion points, and David Coulthard 2nd and Mika Häkkinen in 5th place. No, Mika Häkkinen's improvement, and he's now gone fastest in the first sector, means that McLaren are just saving the situation by 1 point, but with still 37 laps to go, anything can happen. David Coulthard 2nd, and he's lapping in virtually to the nearest 100th of a second the same time as race leader Michael Schumacher, 11.5 seconds behind him on the circuit. Barrichello is 3rd, Ralf Schumacher still 4th for Williams, Mika Häkkinen up to 5th for McLaren, both McLarens in the points, both Ferraris in the points, one Sauber in the points, Raikkonen who's ahead of Heidfeld, and the others in the top 10 are Montoya, Panis and Trulli, and Louise Goodman is with Jenson Button.
I am indeed. Murray Jensen after the highs at Hockenheim, that was really one to forget, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't the best race in the world. I had a stop-go penalty, not quite sure why, but there you go. And then I was pushing really hard at the end, well, that part of the race, and the rear of the car just came around. We've been struggling from oversteer, well, I've been struggling from oversteer for most of the race, and just pushing a bit hard, and the rear came around, and that was it.
Bit of a scary place to stop.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, was it? But there you go, the car stalled in gear, so I couldn't do anything about it.
Cheers.
Another new lap record for guess who? Well, you're wrong, it's Mika Häkkinen. Mika Häkkinen is really travelling. We're looking at David Coulthard now, and Mika has just gone round in the first lap under 1 minute 17 seconds, 1:16.9. And I reckon with a bit of quick mental arithmetic, that is a speed of approaching 116 miles an hour average around this circuit. And he's still 30 seconds behind Ralf Schumacher in the Williams BMW, and Schumacher's teammate Juan Pablo Montoya is still in 8th position where he started. He's still behind the two Saubers of Heidfeld 7th and Raikkonen in 6th place in the points again. The brilliant young Finn.
Yes, both McLarens rejoined the racetrack and put in some sensational lap times, and I wonder if Coulthard beginning to pay the penalty for taking too much of that grip that's available early on in a stint, because suddenly Barrichello started homing in on him and he stopped eking into Michael Schumacher's lead and really looking a bit on the ragged edge, trying to maintain this pace, trying to take the race to Ferrari this afternoon. Michael all of a sudden now then again with one of the fastest cars underneath him. We'll be back very shortly.
On lap 44 at the Hungaro ring. 33 laps to do at the end of this one. Who is the leader? He is the leader. No, that was Rubens Barrichello. It is still Michael Schumacher who has increased his lead over David Coulthard with a lap 0.8 of a second faster than the Scotsman, as you can see, is in traffic, and Schumacher now leads Coulthard by over 12 seconds.
Yeah, Coulthard came out of the pits like a greyhound, but now he looks like he's paying the price for punishing those tyres too early. But Michael Schumacher then becomes the most leading Grand Prix driver of all time. He's led more Grand Prix laps. He needed 41 of them today. He's now led 44. So another milestone pass. Can he match Prost 51? I think it's also he'll be most leader in terms of distance as well as laps a little bit later on in this race.
Well, he's certainly going to be the man with the most distance on nearly every count. The only one that is going to be denied him before very much longer is the incredible record of the late and very great Ayrton Senna for pole positions. He had 65 of them, and Michael Schumacher's pole position for today's Hungarian Grand Prix was 41. I mean, that is a quite stupefying achievement. And so we're on lap 46 now, and I've said earlier on that the Ferraris are famous for their reliability. The McLarens this year have been infamous for their lack of reliability for all sorts of reasons. Electronic reasons, launch control reasons, gearbox reasons, suspension reasons. Certainly not the sort of thing that you expect from McLaren, and it's undoubtedly cost David Coulthard races. Admittedly, he's won already this season in Brazil and in Austria, but he could have done better, and probably the same applies to Mika Häkkinen. Although he's still languishing, he's still in 5th position and showing no signs of improving. Any views on Häkkinen retiring?
I have no idea, Murray. No more than anybody else. You have to read something into the fact that McLaren haven't announced their drivers for next year at this time. Clearly, I know a bit about one side of the McLaren garage. I know nothing about the other side, and there's no smoke without fire, and something must be going on. I think we'll have to wait to find out exactly what that is.
Well, the battles that we're looking at now are in the Constructors' Championship. Sauber is doing extremely well because they've got Kimi Raikkonen in the points, and Sauber are in 4th position in the World Championship ahead of BAR and Jordan. I was saying earlier on that if Trulli could stay in his 5th position where he was at the time, it would mean that the Jordan team would move up ahead of BAR in the Constructors' Championship. Well, that hasn't happened because Trulli is down in 10th position as a result of that awful pit stop. And Panis is ahead of him, but admittedly not in the points. Interesting things about this race are that Olivier Panis in 9th place is ahead of his much vaunted teammate, world champion of 97, Jacques Villeneuve, by 2 places. Jarno Trulli down in 10th place is just 2 places ahead of his new teammate, Jean Alesi, who is soldiering on in 12th position. And Alesi's priority in this event, having come from the Prost team using Ferrari Acer engines and Michelin tyres, and you're looking now at Giancarlo Fisichella in 14th place in the pits.
6th place man, Raikkonen also, and there's a drama. Goes to pull away and has to stop. I think the left rear wasn't some kind of drama with the left rear. I thought I briefly saw there, but Raikkonen in from 6th place as well. So Fisichella was down in 14th before that pit stop. This man, Ralph, is in 4th place. The man behind him, Häkkinen, has got the pace to win this race if only he hadn't started 6th on the grid. Häkkinen over a second a lap faster than anybody else for the last few laps, and really on a charge in 5th place at the moment, but of course 52.5 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, it won't do him much good, of course, because even though he is going so much quicker, he's still over 21 seconds behind Ralf Schumacher, although he's gaining on the Williams BMW. Things are looking very solid at the front now on lap 48 out of 77 in Hungary. Temperature has actually gone down quite a lot. It's gone down about 4 degrees since the race began. Bridgestone said in a rather hurt way after the German Grand Prix that they didn't think that people's view that they had a poor hot weather tyre was justified. Bit of debris flying off the back of Raikkonen's car, bit of car flying off the back of Raikkonen's car on that replay. And Bridgestone seem to be proving here, with Michael Schumacher there leading the race, David Coulthard second, Barrichello third, that their tyre for the very hot conditions at the Hungaroring is not to be sneezed at. The top Michelin runner is Ralf Schumacher. He is in 4th place. The second Michelin runner is Montoya, who is 7th.
Who's about to be lapped. Schumacher then homing in on 7th place man Montoya. And it's just a 78-second lap here, of course, so it's not unusual for a lot of lapping to go on. Montoya being extremely courteous. He's not really in a race, is Montoya at the moment, although he was only 3 or 4 seconds behind Heidfeld, but being very, very courteous to race leader Michael Schumacher, who's still maintaining a 12.7 second lead over David Coulthard.
You're absolutely right about Häkkinen. He's doing it again. He's already made the fastest lap of the race, 1:16.8 on lap 48, and it looks as though his current lap is going to be a very quick one too. Now, I was saying earlier on that because the tyres are individually made, you can literally get one set giving a better performance than the other. That's the only thing I can think of at the moment that's beneficially affecting him.
Absolutely, and the tyres do vary. It's a chemical reaction between the rubber and the racetrack, and they're not all, as hard as they try, absolutely identical. James is in the pits.
Yeah, the second stops, guys, coming up in the next 5 to 8 laps. Now, it's worth remembering that Rubens Barrichello pitted 2 laps before David Coulthard. It's really going to come down to fractions of a second in the pit stop as to whether Rubens or David comes out ahead this afternoon. We've just seen a second ago Kimi Raikkonen coming in from 6th place. It took him almost 10 seconds to make a pit stop, and he's lost ground. We saw it before with Trulli. It can happen.
Look at Trulli. Incidentally, you see an auxiliary rear wing just behind the camera at the top of the car. Several teams have got extra aerodynamic aids at the Hungaroring because downforce is what you need. Williams have got quite a large extra rear wing. McLaren have got a very small extra rear wing. And Williams have also got a higher secondary wing. Any little extra bit of pressure you can get forcing the tyres down on this slippery track is very welcome.
We've got a reverse situation here from the first set of pit stops where Coulthard is now under pressure from Barrichello rather than the other way around, and it's all going to be a question of can he stay in front this time instead of can he leapfrog. Coulthard definitely struggling in the second half of this stint, the middle stint of the race, of course, and Barrichello able to keep within 7/10 of a second. Montoya in for his second stop.
Scrubbed set of tyres, I see. Those have been used before. It improves the performance. And off goes a tear-off. The drivers have over their transparent visors auxiliary flexible ones which they can rip off when they get bits of rubber or dirt sticking to them to improve their vision. And Rubens Barrichello's vision is very clear about who is in front of him as in comes the BAR.
I think I saw the front of the car being dropped there a little bit too early. It is Villeneuve who is in the pits. Of course, he was in 10th place, so Villeneuve rejoins. I wonder if there's a cloud come over or something, because all of a sudden everybody's lapping quite a bit faster, so I would imagine temperatures are just falling away a little bit, and they're finding some good mechanical grip from this racetrack.
It's only 34 degrees now.
I know, but there's something's happened out there because everybody suddenly started pumping in 17s where they were doing 18s or 18s where they were doing 19s.
It's amazing how just what seems quite a small temperature change can beneficially affect the performance of the cars. And you're looking now at David Coulthard, 2nd place, coming out of the last corner before Rubens Barrichello. David's already had a couple of 2nd places this year, of course, in Australia and at the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola. Rubens Barrichello's had even more 2nd places. He's had 3 of them at the Malaysian Grand Prix and at Monaco, and the last race, which was the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. So, closing on David Coulthard's car, and Mika Häkkinen continues to go faster and faster, but he's still 15 seconds behind fourth place Ralf Schumacher.
Yeah, let's have a look at the scraps. This is the best one. Barrichello 9/10 behind Coulthard. Häkkinen just 13 seconds behind fourth place man Ralf Schumacher. Then we go down to Panis 8th, Montoya 9th. Where there's just 1.4 seconds between them. Not too many other fights on the racetrack this afternoon. And the Ferrari mechanics in the pit lane. Last time around, Michael Schumacher pitted first. An 11.9-second lead at the moment. Häkkinen just doing yet another new lap record, a 1:16.723. And there is Michael Schumacher. Again, we're looking for something sub 8 seconds for a perfect one, but they don't need to rush. They can just be calm. Michael's calm on the throttle. He's not blipping it. He's keeping it all calm. And did he get away? We cut away, but did he get away? Yes, he is. I can see him out of the window now. Michael Schumacher just very calmly pulling away. He knows he's got enough in his pocket to maintain the lead once the others have all made their second stop. And again, he just makes it out in front, crucially, of 2 more cars, so he will not have a slow out lap.
Yeah, Kimi Räikkönen, he's just ahead of him. And of course, David Coulthard and Rubens Barrichello have gone through. So again, David Coulthard is leading the Hungarian Grand Prix. That is fourth place man Ralf Schumacher. So all the top men now have made their stops, second stops, except, of course, significantly, David Coulthard and Rubens Barrichello. Michael Schumacher has been in, Ralf Schumacher has been in. The order on lap 53 out of 77 at the present moment is Coulthard, Barrichello, Michael Schumacher that you are looking at. Look at all the rubber crumb on the circuit there. We call them marbles, and they can be very, very slippery indeed and take the car off if you hit them at the wrong place. So the crucial thing now is, can David Coulthard... There is Barrichello. Right.
James, take it away.
Well, we're looking for something, as you say, about sub 7 seconds. It's going to be very, very marginal indeed as to who comes second today. It's not really that great. So Coulthard has a window of opportunity. Can he take it?
Well, Barrichello, that 8.5 second stop may decide the place.
Yes, and Coulthard on that very same lap did his fastest of the race, a 1:17.0, and this could be crucial with, I think I'm hearing there's a Williams off. Yes, there is. Montoya off for the second time today. The first time around, he got away with it easily. This time around, it looks like he hasn't fared so well. Panis has passed him, but I see McLaren in the pit lane. It will surely be for Coulthard. Häkkinen is on a completely different strategy, and this, I think, is going to decide second place this afternoon. Coulthard on a very hot in-lap as well. A good first sector. He's lost half a second in the mid-sector to the best of the afternoon. Not too bad. He'll take a wide sweeping line into that long but tight right-hander. Squirt now down. He's looking for that white line now, and he can already see somebody in the pit lane with his lollipop, James.
It takes just 3.5 seconds to change the wheels. It's the fuel that takes the time. 50 kilos of it need to go in, and anything under 8 seconds should have the lead. Roaring on the throttle, David Coulthard. It's not great. The release didn't come off. Where's Rubens Barrichello?
There is Michael Schumacher. It's going to be mighty, mighty close. There is Rubens Barrichello on the right. There is David Coulthard on the left. And the Benetton is in front. And Barrichello's going to do it. Yes! Barrichello goes through into second place. David Coulthard has lost out as a result of that sticky fuel nozzle.
Yeah, the fuel nozzle wouldn't come off, would it? And Coulthard could not get away. That has cost him second place at the moment. Barrichello moves crucially 2 places nearer to him, 2 points nearer to him in the World Championship as well, if they stay like this. And also, Ferrari will take the Constructors' World Championship this afternoon, all on a sticky fuel nozzle.
Yeah, and if that happens, let me just make this point, that if Michael Schumacher takes the World Championship, it will have been with 4 races still to go: Belgium, Italy, America and Japan. When the great Nigel Mansell did that in 1992, there were still 5 races to go. I wish not to detract from Schumacher's performance if he performs it, because we're on lap 55 now. There's still 22 laps to go, but it's a point that's worth making as you look at third place, David Coulthard, and Barrichello has regained that second place that he held for so long and lost on the previous pit stop, which means to say that Ferrari leads, Ferrari second, Schumacher leads, Barrichello second. McLaren's are third and fourth now, because as a result of the pit stops, Mika Häkkinen is now up into fourth place, but he is 7.8 seconds behind his teammate David Coulthard and has yet to make his second stop.
Yes, he stopped late. They could have put him on a one-stopper, but I think he only stopped for 6.8 seconds, did Häkkinen, so I am expecting him to have to come in again before the end of the race. So Ferrari 1-2, McLaren, Coulthard and Häkkinen 3 and 4. Ralf Schumacher just about holding station back in 5th. Heidfeld is now the leading Sauber driver. They've been swapping around all afternoon, and Jarno Trulli once again out of the motor race.
Oh dear, Eddie Jordan is going to be down, down, down in the dumps, because yet again Jarno Trulli retires from the Grand Prix. That's the 5th time he's done it this year. He's going to be a very unhappy man, but not possibly as unhappy as his team boss. The only Jordan left in the race now, as you watch Jarno Trulli coasting in, is Jean Alesi, who is now in 10th position.
And Alesi hasn't pitted yet, amazingly, so Alesi obviously filled his car up at the start of the race. Most cars have pitted twice. Alesi, according to the computer, and I don't recall seeing him, has not pitted at all this afternoon, and we see the McLaren mechanics getting ready for Häkkinen. Häkkinen then in for his second stop from what was 4th place. He had a 17.9 second advantage over Ralf Schumacher. This is going to be nip and tuck. I'm assuming Ralf will maintain that position. He does. He passes our window. Ralf maintains 5th position, but Häkkinen getting ever closer after losing all that time earlier in the race, and so nearly connecting there with Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
Yeah, well, there's a theory, Martin, that the transponder has fallen off the Jordan of Jean Alesi, and that we therefore don't know that he made his pit stop. I remember actually Jean one year in the Benetton when he just blithely drove on for lap after lap with Flavio Briatore and Nick Worth and everybody practically lying across the track to tell him that he got to come in, and he eventually ran out of fuel. Now here is the McLaren of Mika Häkkinen just getting out of the pits alongside Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who will have got a shot. Remember how Heinz-Harald held up David Coulthard yesterday?
Yeah, and we said it was gormless, but that was a very good stuff from Frentzen there, no doubt about it, to be heading into that corner, hanging on to a Prost, and able to leave enough room for a recovering Häkkinen rejoining after his pit stop was good driving from Frentzen and very fair.
Lap 58 out of 77. Here are the retirements in the order of retirement. Eddie Irvine out, Jaguar. Luciano Berti out, Prost. Bernaldi out, Arrows. Button out, Benetton. Alonso out, Minardi. 17 out of the 22 starters are left. Tasso Marquez is last in the Minardi. He has been lapped 4 times, top 10, lap 58. Schumacher 9 seconds ahead of teammate Barrichello, who is 1.7 seconds ahead of McLaren's David Coulthard. 4th is Ralf Schumacher, Williams BMW, where he's been virtually the whole race. 5th is Mika Häkkinen, so he's gone down a place. 6th is Nick Heidfeld, and that means to say that Sauber are yet again in World Championship points position. And Kimi Räikkönen is 7th, Montoya is 8th, Panis is 9th, and 10th position is Jacques Villeneuve. So 2 Ferraris in the top 2 places. 2 McLarens, 3rd and 5th. That means to say, we'll say again, Michael Schumacher looking very, very, very good for his 4th World Championship and his 51st race win to equal the record of the great Alain Prost, and Ferrari looking good for the Constructors' Contest.
These pair are only 8 seconds behind Michael Schumacher, but I don't think that's any indication of a problem for Michael. I think he's really just been pacing himself almost from the get-go this afternoon. But Barrichello and Coulthard really chasing each other so hard, they've really kept within striking distance of Michael.
You can see that rear wing. Oh no, you can't, because they've moved away. Yeah, the people say that if there's any good luck going, that Michael gets it. And, you know, he was lucky when he went across that gravel trap just as he was coming up to the grid, that he didn't do some pretty serious damage to the underside of the car.
Yeah, he is famous for spinning off and not ever hitting anything and somehow or other getting away with it. But, you know, you make your own luck totally without any doubt. And a good driver and a good Formula 1 car always somehow spin down the middle of the track. And we're seeing Panis out of the window here, coasting into the pits and out of what was 9th place. So Olivier Panis then apparently out of the race in the BAR, and that promotes Villeneuve up to 9th and John Alesi into the top 10 for Jordan.
Yeah, at the present moment, talking Drivers' Championship, Rubens Barrichello is 7 points behind David Coulthard in 2nd place in the championship, but he's gaining 2 of those points if he can stay ahead of him in this race. You were talking about payback time between Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello if Schumacher clinches the championship here, Martin. And it could well be that the contest then, as far as Ferrari are concerned, having won the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship, will be to get Barrichello ahead of Coulthard in the Drivers' contest.
Yes, I think that will clearly be Ferrari's coup de grace, no doubt about it, in the final stages of the World Championship. If I was... I don't think if I was Barrichello, I'd accept the gift of a race win. I think that's the
You'd turn it down, would you?
You know, I would. I have to say, I would not accept that gift, because all it's doing is saying, look, I'm so much faster than you. I'm going to have to give you a race. That's a painful one, and we saw Senna do that to Berger, and I just think it was. Unless it's absolutely in team play, I think it's a different scenario.
Oh, you're a better man than I am, Gungadin. Lap 61 out of 77. There are 7.5 seconds between the 2 Ferraris. Barrichello continuing to lap marginally quicker. As you look now at Ralf Schumacher, who has been caught by Mika Häkkinen. Now this is the battle for 4th place, and Häkkinen's previous lap was 2.3 seconds faster than the Williams BMW. Is Ralf Schumacher in trouble?
I think he's just struggling a bit with the car this afternoon, and Häkkinen, as we've said earlier in the race, has been absolutely flying. Häkkinen had the equipment today to win the race, by the looks of it. I've been watching probably 20 or 30 of his lap times this afternoon, and he's been absolutely flying. Once he got clear of Trulli earlier on in the race during when Trulli pitted for the first time, and since then he's been screaming around the racetrack, and this is the net result. He's caught Ralf Schumacher, but can he do anything about it? 4/10 he was behind. You can see that gap for yourself, and he appears to have a much faster car.
Not going to be enough for McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, even if he gets past Ralf Schumacher, though. But he's certainly trying, and Ralf knows exactly what to do with the motor car. I've told you many times in this race already how difficult it is to pass at the Hungaroring, and Ralf Schumacher is going to make it doubly difficult for Mika Häkkinen. He'll see the distinctive McLaren and the distinctive blue helmet with the white circular band of Mika Häkkinen behind him, and he'll know what he's got to do to keep him behind. And it's perfectly legal, incidentally. You can take whatever line you like if you are in front, provided you do not weave consistently across the track. And the leaders now, Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello and David Coulthard, with 9 seconds covering the 3 of them, are on lap 62, 15 laps to go in this 77-lap race, as you watch the battle between Ralf Schumacher and the Williams BMW, the top Michelin runner, and Mika Häkkinen for that 4th position and the 3 World Championship points that go with it. Nick Heidfeld is still in 6th position for Sauber. They've had so many points places this year, and now they're getting another one. A complete turnaround for the Swiss team.
Problem here for Häkkinen is, as at so many other races this year, that Williams has sensational straight line speed, and even in this very short and twisty racetrack, they're 6 or 7 kilometers per hour faster down the straight. So that's going to be a major stumbling block for Häkkinen. He's going to have to hustle him in the corners, force him into some kind of error. So we have then Mika Häkkinen's McLaren chasing down Ralf Schumacher's Williams, and some 30 seconds up the road, Coulthard is still fighting hard with the Ferrari of Barrichello. Meanwhile, Michael Schumacher serenely up front, but by only 7.5 seconds now.
Yeah, well, Williams have had 15 retirements from 24 starts so far this year. But both cars are still running at the Hungarian Grand Prix with, as you can see, Ralf Schumacher in 4th place. You can't see Montoya, but he is still there in 8th position, albeit having been lapped once. And so hopefully, from their point of view, they have overcome the reliability bogey, and they're going to be very, very much a threat for next year. We've got so used over the recent years to Ferrari and McLaren dominating the championship after Williams had done so for so long. But now that Williams have got this BMW power and the Michelin tyres, they fought back brilliantly, and they're going to be a major threat for the year 2002. It's a wonderful prospect for next year. Ferrari versus McLaren versus Williams. Ralf Schumacher getting very nearly to be the equal of his great brother, who's now on lap 64. 13 laps to go between Michael Schumacher and his 4th World Championship to match Alain Prost, and have been beaten only by one man in the history of Formula One, Juan Manuel Fangio, who won the World Championship for Maserati, for Mercedes-Benz, for Alfa Romeo and for Ferrari. An amazing achievement, and he did it all between 1950 and 1957. And now look at Hakkinen. I'm pushing, I'm coming through. No, you're not, says Ralphie.
I have a feeling this one might end in tears this afternoon. Hakkinen has lost 2 seconds a lap now behind Ralf Schumacher. He will not take any further places. This is his only trophy of the afternoon because, as I said, Coulthard and co another half a minute down the road. But Hakkinen, having had a difficult afternoon, will take a lot of pleasure from getting past that Williams, and he's certainly got the much faster car, particularly under braking, and it's just tempting him to have a stab.
Well, he's certainly not lacking commitment now. There have been people who've been saying 2 championships behind him, Mika Hakkinen has lost the will to win. Well, he certainly hasn't done that. He might have gone off the boil very slightly, but he's certainly pushing very, very hard indeed now. And if he can get past Ralf Schumacher, it's going to make 1 point difference in the Drivers' Championship for him, which is neither here nor there, because Hakkinen is way down in 15th position at the present. Sorry, Hakkinen is way down in 5th position with 19 points at the present moment. But he's keeping going. Lap 65 for Michael Schumacher, Ferrari. What's happening behind? Well, it's no battle between Heidfeld and Raikkonen. There's 11 seconds behind them for 6th and 7th places. The man to watch at the present moment is Jean Alesi. Can he do anything about Jacques Villeneuve? Alesi's going to be in the top 10 in his first race for Jordan in Formula One, but it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to improve beyond that.
Now, we haven't seen him on the TV pitting, but Alesi has surely pitted somewhere, and interestingly his sector times are not changing, so for whatever reason the computer's not recording John Alesi, although they're getting his overall lap times. They're not getting any sectors, and they're certainly not clocking him coming in the pit, because it's showing him has not pitted yet, but clearly he has, as Hakkinen pours more relentless pressure onto Ralf. But Ralf's an old enough hand these days to be able to sustain most of that, accepting his car really does look rather a handful.
So, what about Benetton when they came here with that improved engine package, that improved aerodynamic package that they were so optimistic about and still are? Well, Jenson Button retired a long, long time ago. Giancarlo Fisichella is still soldiering on. He's in 12th position, which is about where he's been finishing in most of the races, perhaps one or 2 places higher so far this season. So now, this is where Ralf Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen are going to have their eyes peeled, because they're closing up on the car in front to lap it. And if there is even a momentary balk, this could give Mika Hakkinen his opportunity to get past Ralf Schumacher, as Nigel Mansell did to Senna when they came up to Stefan Johansson's Onyx in 1959. But Schumacher, Ralph will be just as conscious of that situation as Häkkinen is, and the car they are approaching, of course, is Fisichella Benetton in 12th position, 2 laps down.
I was born in 1959. I think it was a touch later than that, Murray, but we're hearing that Frentzen is off the road in his first race for Prost Grand Prix. We haven't seen it yet, but Heinz-Harald Frentzen has stopped somewhere in the final sector.
And the producer is very sensibly staying with Ralf Schumacher in 4th position and Mika Häkkinen in 5th place, because really this is the battle on the circuit at the present moment. We're coming down to the closing stages of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Rubens Barrichello just over 6 seconds behind Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard virtually tucked up behind his wing because he's considerably less than a second behind Barrichello now. And out there is Frentzen's car. So of the two major people who changed teams, Frentzen to Prost and Alesi to Jordan, that is the first retirement with Frentzen out in the Prost. Very, very difficult, of course, for a driver. It's quite noticeable that Fisichella is staying well ahead of Ralf Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen. They're closing now. It's going to be very, very close indeed at the end of this lap. And Mika Häkkinen will be getting as close as he possibly can to Ralf Schumacher.
Yeah, Häkkinen absolutely giving it plenty, isn't he? He really wants that 4th place this afternoon very badly. You're right, Murray, they're only sort of slowly homing in on Fisichella. Fisichella already having received at least 3 or 4 blue flags. Will he just blend off the throttle, let them through? Yes, indeed, he will. But Häkkinen, therefore, loses another opportunity to somehow find a way past that Williams.
And still, if you're a Ferrari fan and you're worried about what is happening up front, I can tell you you've got nothing to worry about, because Michael Schumacher, knowing exactly what the score is being kept in touch with things by radio. There is his teammate behind him in 2nd place. That scarlet car is the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello, and David Coulthard has now got quite a bit of air between him and the car ahead. He's still in 3rd position though, but he's seeing his chances of the World Championship slip away.
Good drive this afternoon from Barrichello, I think, Murray. He stayed in touch with Michael Schumacher. I mean, he would have been very embarrassed to be 0.8 of a second slower in qualifying, but he's pretty much stayed in touch through the race and certainly kept Coulthard honest, and then made Coulthard pay for that fuel nozzle problem when he regained 2nd place that he took on his way to the first corner of the first lap. This then still the fight for 4th and 5th position, down to just 0.3 of a second according to the stopwatch, but it looked closer than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting the way things have ebbed and flowed over the years with the constructors. I mean, we started off with Alfa Romeo dominating things, Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz, Lotus, Cooper, they have all been at it, but at the present moment, it's very much Ferrari in charge.
Coulthard salir de
Giancarlo Fisichella. That's 2 retirements for the Benetton team. Button long gone from the race after 36 laps. Giancarlo Fisichella looks as though he's spun off. Well, the fat lady must be in the wings now, warming up her voice box to start singing, because it is very near the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix, with Michael Schumacher on his 71st lap out of 77, and he's keeping that lead of about 7 seconds. You're watching him now as he dives inside the Jordan of Jean Alesi, the only one left now. He's in 10th place and he's been lapped. And Michael Schumacher is maintaining that 7-second lead over his teammate Rubens Barrichello, who's having to fight very, very hard indeed to keep the Mercedes-Benz powered McLaren of David Coulthard, the championship contender, clear. And he's succeeding. So Ferrari leads, Ferrari second, and it's still no change in 4th position, with Ralf Schumacher, who's been there for virtually the whole race. However, the battle between Ralf Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen, and as in comes the McLaren.
That's strange, isn't it? So clearly can't be a scheduled stop. Häkkinen, maybe they didn't get enough fuel in or something last time around. Häkkinen in the pits, and yes, they're going to give him a quick splash and dash. Clearly they didn't quite get enough fuel in on his last stop, and that's taken away any excitement of can Häkkinen pass Ralf Schumacher for 4th place. What a shame. He's not going to lose any places, because Heidfeld is a lap down and 48 seconds behind. But great shame there for us and for Mika Häkkinen.
I wonder if that's another fuel rig problem, Martin. There have been so many of them. Incorrect delivery of fuel this season.
Well, we're just looking at the 2 stops that he's done this afternoon. One was 6.8, the other 6.6 seconds. They are absolutely on the limit, and it seems like over the limit. They did not, it appears, get enough fuel, and they'll know after the car's gone out, they'll know exactly how much they got in.
Well, if it's McLaren, it's a very, very unusual mistake for as mature a team as that to make. As out of the pits now goes Olivier Panis in the BAR. That was an unexpected stop. He's been working on the car, because I thought he was coming out of the race, actually. He's been lapped a long, long time ago. Jacques Villeneuve, incidentally, is in 9th place.
It's been an afternoon of fuel rig, hasn't it, for McLaren? Häkkinen, not necessarily a fuel rig problem, not getting enough fuel in, it would appear, at least anyway, and Coulthard then, the sticky fuel hose nozzle not coming off the car when he needed it to do so, to just sneak back out in front of this man Barrichello, and since that's happened, really they've been absolutely evenly matched on lap times. Really, Barrichello not able to pull away, Coulthard not able to close down, and Michael just cruising into turn 1, isn't he? And there are his 2 pursuers, with Jean Alesi, I would guess, in between them.
Yeah, Alesi in 10th position is about to be lapped by Barrichello 2nd and Coulthard 3rd. Jean sees them in his mirrors, politely moves over. As I said earlier on, what the French Sicilian is going to be doing in this race is get some race mileage under his belt. The McLaren, the Jordan was a closed book to him when this race began, but he's now got to grips with it, and he'll be a man to watch in future events.
Yeah, but if you cruised up to Jean Alesi on Thursday, Murray, and said, John, nice to see you're going to get lapped twice on Sunday, he would have thumped you.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, at least he's going to finish the race, it looks, which is more than the man Hans-Harald Frentzen, who went from Jordan to Prost, changing roles with Alesi, has been able to do. We're on lap 74 now, and these laps are taking, well, the quickest lap that we've had this afternoon was that 1 minute 16.7 of Mika Häkkinen on the 51st lap, and Panis is now definitely out of the race as Michael Schumacher there in the Ferrari starts his 75th lap. He's on the 75th lap now. There is the battle for second. with Barrichello in the second Ferrari, David Coulthard. So Michael Schumacher has got the lap that he's on now and 2 more of these 2.5-mile laps at the Hungaroring to do. There is 7 miles, less than that now, between Schumacher and his 4th World Championship since he first drove for Eddie Jordan's team in 1991.
And what's even more amazing than that, really, Murray, is he missed a couple more by the skin of his teeth in the final round by a point or two. You know, we could easily be looking at Michael Schumacher's 6th World Championship this afternoon had fate played a slightly different hand. And of course, then he broke his leg a couple of years, 2 or 3 years back as well, where there was another championship chance out of the window. So Michael Schumacher, really, it's 4 championships probably don't even really describe fully his dominance of the championships.
Absolutely true, and let's just underline the significance of his achievement, assuming that he gets there. But he will have won 4 World Championships to match the great Alain Prost. You saw me talking to him before the programme began, and when I asked Alain Prost how his feelings would be, he said, well, I will not be happy, but Michael Schumacher is very good. So he'll be matching Prost. He'd be only 1 shy of Juan Manuel Fangio in a situation where Michael Schumacher is going on for years. And he will have matched Alain Prost's record number of Grand Prix victories at 51. He's going to be very close to Alain Prost's record number of points scored in a Grand Prix career, 798.5. He's going to be the first man in the history of Formula One to win 2 World Championships for 2 different constructors. And as I say, it goes on and on and on. This superlatively fit man, and another of the incredible aspects of his career is that he's done it mostly in cars which have not been as good as the competition. The Ferrari is arguably the best car this year, but not by very much if it is. But in previous years, it most certainly has not been. So 75 laps completed by Michael Schumacher, almost 76 laps completed, 76 laps completed now. Michael Schumacher is on his way on the last lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix to rewrite Formula One history. Championship number 4 coming up, leader Michael Schumacher, final lap, car, Ferrari. And it's going to be a Ferrari second place unless David Coulthard can do something absolutely incredible in the closing stages of the last lap, which will mean to say that it will not only be Michael Schumacher world champion as he was last year, as he was in 94, as he was in 95 for Benetton, but it will mean that Ferrari have won the Constructors' World Championship as well. Not for the first time recently, not for the second time recently, but for the 3rd time in succession. And Michael Schumacher comes out of turn 11 in 14 into turn 12. 13 is coming up now. It's a 14 corner lap. And Michael Schumacher goes into that last corner for the last time at the Hungarian Grand Prix. He exits the corner, he crosses the line. Michael Schumacher wins. Michael Schumacher is world champion. Barrichello is second. David Coulthard is third. And Ferrari are Constructors' World Champions. And Michael Schumacher, as ever, is absolutely euphoric. Brilliant!
That's Ralf Schumacher then, still heading round towards the end of the lap. He, of course, will be 4th, confirming Häkkinen did manage to regain the track in 5th after that splash and dash. But a 1-2 for Ferrari, which nicely underlines Michael's 51st Grand Prix victory. Barrichello suitably pleased with himself, and I think so he should be this afternoon. Ralf then round the last corner. Best of a bad job this afternoon, I think. Really didn't have the car underneath him for whatever reason, but nonetheless, 3 World Championship points for Ralf Schumacher. He won't be on the podium, which will be a shame for him to support his brother's 4th World Championship. To Häkkinen then, 5th place man. Curious afternoon for Häkkinen, but certainly showing plenty of speed when he had some clear air in front of him. and plenty of commitment in that respect. So very much a lap of honour for 1 and 2 Ferrari.
I've done it, he's saying. Is he the greatest? Well, you can't really compare drivers of one generation with another. Was Sterling Moss better than Alain Prost? Was Fangio better than Senna? You can't answer that. Different times, different cars, different circuits, different politics, different conditions. What you can say is, without the faintest shadow of a doubt, Michael Schumacher is very much one of the greatest of all time. And he's now world champion. 94 points, Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard, 51 points, so there's no way that Michael Schumacher can be beaten. He certainly can't be beaten by Barrichello or Ralph. And Louise Goodman is with one of the people who have made Ferrari victorious, Englishman Nigel Stenney.
I am indeed, Murray. Scenes of jubilation down here. Nigel, tell us about the feelings at the moment.
Oh, unbelievable, fantastic. To do it 2 years successive is fantastic. You couldn't want more.
How do you think Michael's going to react to this?
I think it was going to be pretty delayed, but he's very excited from what I can understand.
And what a way he did it as well.
It's the way to do it, 1 and 2, what more can you ask for?
Did he make any comment on the radio on that slowing down lap?
No, just magic, he didn't know what to say.
Well done, Nigel.
Thank you.
Well, he was pummeling the steering wheel with euphoria, and there he is now. Out goes the glove fist again. And driving alongside him, Rubens Barrichello, who has certainly done his bit for a brilliant Ferrari victory here at the Hungaroring. And you can't take anything away from them. They have fought so hard, they've done so much over the years to come up from the pit that they were in, where things were looking as though they were never going to come good for them, and they most certainly have, and they've underlined it with emphasis here today.
3/4 of Italy go on holiday in August, so they won't all exactly be in the cities and towns tonight, but surely all the Italians, wherever they are in the world, are going to be very, very happy to see the prancing horse once again dominating the world. And, well, with such a strong performance today, it's really their day, isn't it, Murray?
Yeah, that picture will be appearing in the papers, I'm sure. The two Ferraris side by side as they go into the Parc Fermé, where the leading cars have to go for mechanical checks. The drivers will get onto the scales now to make sure that the combined weight of the car and driver is not less than 600 kilograms. Ferrari in the World Championship, 140 points, nearly twice as many as McLaren, and there are still 4 races to go in Belgium, in Italy, in America and Japan. Williams are still 3rd, Sauber is still 4th. There's no change for 5th and 6th because neither BAR nor Jordan scored any points. Ralph congratulates Michael. Michael thanks Rubens Barrichello. And I wonder if he's whispering in the little Brazilian's ear, I will see you right in Belgium, Italy, America and Japan. I don't think he is. But up on the car, well done, Michael. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. The picture speaks for itself, and Michael the first to acknowledge all that his mechanics and engineers and designers have done for him.
Pity the cameraman's looking as if he's in prison today through the bars, but Shanwy, apparently they will not let the host broadcaster go down there into Parc Fermé, which is a great shame for all of us, but at least we can get a long view of Michael Schumacher celebrating with journalists, photographers that are good friends of his, with the team, of course, we've already seen, and somebody else he's just spotted.
In the blue shirt, Herbie Blash, one of the FIA, the Fédération Internationale Automobile, the governing body of motorsport's top men, with his mate Charlie Whiting, both of them very well known to Mr. Bernard Charles Ecclestone. And Herbie saying to Michael, come along, Michael, we've got to get you into the weighing area. We've got to get you up onto the podium for that first place, which you have so richly deserved. And the fans put the Ferrari flag on the track that Michael Schumacher and Barrichello have been driving over for these last 77 laps, as everybody in the scarlet outfits gathers to pay homage to Michael Schumacher and, of course, let us not forget, Rubens Barrichello, The crowd breaks ranks, that's okay. The race is over now. And they're entitled to come onto the track, get as close to it as they can, see their heroes up above them on the podium. It's been a massive crowd here in Hungary, close to the magnificent city of Budapest, and the air temperature here is still 31 degrees. It's been a gloriously hot, sunny afternoon to see an historic achievement. There it is in replay. Michael Schumacher, arm and fist out of the cockpit, the winner in Hungary at a record speed. But the one thing I think that has been denied him this afternoon is the fastest lap, which his rival, the past double world champion Mika Häkkinen, did on lap 51, 1 minute 16.7, which shatters, obliterates, wipes out Nigel Mansell's previous lap record of 1 minute 18.3. What a day.
He's probably the last world champion you're going to commentate on, Murray, and what's your view? How do you feel about that?
I'm obviously very sad. I've been trying not to say to myself as the Grand Prix went by, this is the last time I'm going to be at Monaco, and last time I'm going to be in Canada, the last time I'm going to be in Hungary. But I'm very, very glad that I was here today to be able to commentate on this supreme achievement of a man I unashamedly admire so much. I've never made any secret of it. He's not only a brilliant driver, but he's a superb personality, a wonderful ambassador for the sport, an extremely nice man, and he does it all in such consummate style. I'll be sorry not to be seeing it again, Martin.
We saw him on the grid, didn't we, talking to Boris Becker, and Becker was even staggered at just how calm Michael was. I think he had this race won in his mind long before the lights ever went out, and even a little faux pas on the outlap still did not destabilise Michael. He went through the gravel trap on his way to the grid way before the start of the race. Jean Todt, sporting director of Ferrari, soaking up the congratulations and the thrill. And rightly so, he's done a great job, hasn't he, for Ferrari?
The architect of victory, he is the man who's brought them not quite back from the abyss, but he's the man who's put them on top by getting the right people, the right facilities, the right money, the right everything, and including, we mustn't ever forget the engine man at Ferrari. He's so easily overlooked. I talk a lot about Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne, who are the technical director and the design chief at Ferrari, and Jean Todt. But Paolo Martinelli is the man whose people have produced this supremely effective Ferrari V10 engine, which pumps out something like 820 brake horsepower. It may not be the most powerful the BMW is reputed to be, although nobody really knows how much power these engines produce. But Martinelli has done a fabulous job, and that sounds to me as though they're coming out on the podium. Yes, I can see them. There they are. Michael Schumacher, world champion in 1994, 1995, the year 2000 and 2001, leaps for joy on the podium with Rubens Barrichello and David Coulthard. And the German national anthem. Just a hint of a tear there from Michael, savouring the moment, but Germany's Michael Schumacher could not have done it without Italy's Ferrari. Michael. Let it all out. You can be as emotional as you like. You certainly deserve it. And the winner's trophy, an absolutely magnificent one, comes from the Hungarian Minister for Sport, Dr. Tamás Deutsch. And now the trophy to the winning constructor, and Jean Todt, of course, is the man who richly deserves to accept it. And my goodness, he does so with style and shows it to Michael Schumacher. Well done. Applause all round.
The trophy presented by Dr. Sandor.
It's David Coulthard's trophy now to Barry Keller's. I apologise for that second place from Dr. Sandor Pinter, who is the Minister of Home Affairs here in Hungary, as you can see for yourself. And that just leaves another trophy for David Coulthard's cabinet. Not the one he would ideally have liked, because now his World Championship chances, sadly for him, have gone. But there's another year.
He must feel a bit like a stone in the shoe up there. He's been trying all year to spoil Ferrari's party, and all day he would not give up on the chase. But at the end of the day, they did not have enough speed. But mum's the word, champagne's the game. But this is no ordinary champagne. This is for the World Championship.
And Jean Todt is happy to accept the full blast. They tell me, those who've been there, that the problem is that the stuff gets in your eyes with terrific velocity. So, a wonderful Hungarian Grand Prix. It's seen the 2 World Championships decided in favour of Michael Schumacher and Ferrari. A truly memorable occasion.
Joyful and a slightly tearful world champion. Great that Murray was here to call Michael Schumacher home. And Budapest will be jumping tonight. Michael Schumacher, only the second Ferrari driver to retain the Drivers' World title. Ascari did it back in the 50s. We're going to be hearing from the 4 times world champion before you leave us. Ferrari retain the Constructors' 3rd year running, and Michael Schumacher equals Alain Prost's all-time record, 51 Grand Prix victories. Jean Todt, drenched but very happy indeed. Now, will they push for Rubens Barrichello to overtake David Coulthard? A tough time for Coulthard on the podium, by the way, for that second place behind Michael Schumacher. It has been Ferrari's day beyond any question.
and it's welcome to the top 3 finishing drivers at the Hungarian Grand Prix 2001. It's Michael Schumacher, Rubens Barrichello and David Coulthard. Michael, many congratulations. Your 7th win of the season, your 51st win overall, equaling the record, but most importantly, your 4th World Championship. How do you feel?
I was talking to the team during the long lap we did, the slow lap we did, and I was always trying to find the right words. And in such a moment, I'm probably not a bad racing driver, but I'm quite a bad person in finding the right words in such moments. So you have to forgive me. I can't say much more than it has been a beautiful weekend. I mean, we did everything we could have done. I came here with not such a good feeling for whatever reason. I told to Jean, I'm not sure this weekend is going to be the one it will happen. And then we got pole position, we got the victory. I did obviously equalize 51 with Alan, and I got my 4th championship. So it's a bit too much for me right now to take it. And I simply want to say that it's a great achievement, but the way it has been done is what makes me feeling so fantastic, because the team around us, Rubens, myself, you can't believe how wonderful the guys are, how much we stick together in good times, in bad times, and particularly in bad times, and sometimes we had them as well. And we have such a great crew. I mean, such a good team. I'm really in love with all of them, and it makes so much fun to work with them. It's their achievement, and I'm more than thankful to all of them.
This obviously being the 4th World Championship is early, but how do you feel it compares to the other 3?
You always ask about comparison. I don't think that matters, actually. I simply want to enjoy that, and each one is different, and each victory feels different. It's always something special to win a Grand Prix, to win a championship even more. So that's what counts.
Thank you, Michael. Rubens, you pushed very hard all day to make sure you got that 2nd place, which secures the Constructors' Championship for Ferrari. You must be very proud of your season.
I am. After everything, you know, all people say, I think I'm having a wonderful season. And it's not because I'm beside him, but I'm, you know, really proud to be his teammate and be part of the party. After all, I think it's a fantastic party. It's a fantastic achievement, and you know, I think it's not just coincidence that when I joined the team, we won the whole time. So it's something that I'm very proud, and I think the team deserve and Michael deserved. So really proud to be within them.
Talking for a moment about the actual race, were you firstly surprised when David was ahead of you after the first pit stop, and then surprised at the 2nd pit stop when you got back ahead again?
To be honest, I had mixed emotions. I mean, the first one I was so disappointed, and the second one I was so happy. I couldn't believe myself. I mean, I think it's the same with him, with DC, but just the opposite. Fortunately for me, it worked out. I had a wonderful start. The first set of tires was a bit difficult to drive, so he was very close to me. I think he had a better lap in or a better pit stop, so he caught me there. And then I was driving really fast to beat him on the second one, and I was able to do a really quick outlap and be able to be in front of him. So I'm really happy for that.
Well done, thank you, Rubens. David, you tried so hard today to keep the championship alive for another race, but in the end it wasn't to be. Perhaps you can talk us through your race.
Well, obviously at the start, being on the inside seemed to be a disadvantage because Rubens was able to pass me quite easily, and Michael opened up quite a gap as we went down to turn 1. So I knew it was going to be difficult from there. The fact that I was able to maintain the gap to Rubens made me realise there was a chance at the pit stops, and with the fuel we were carrying, I felt reasonably comfortable that you'd have to pit before me. And you know, really pretty much just the opposite of what Rubens is saying. Then obviously in that middle stint I was struggling a little bit more with the tyres. It wasn't a new set, and not sure at the moment what part of the in lap, the pit stop, or the out lap. Well, it wasn't the out lap because he passed me before the first corner, but certainly something there cost me a little bit of time. But you know, in reality, it was second place was the best that could be achieved today, and obviously today is about Michael's title and his win, and obviously I congratulate him on that achievement and recommend he takes a holiday for the last 4 Grand Prix.
I say last 4 Grand Prix, you're in a 3-way battle for second place in the championship with Rubens and Ralph. How important is it to you to come second overall?
You know, really, I don't feel any emotion for finishing second. I only want to win. It makes no difference to me, really, whether I'm second, third, fourth, whatever it happens to be. What's important is how I perform in each of the individual races, and providing I know I've given 100% effort from myself, which I know isn't always the case, but that's obviously the goal, is to try and achieve that. Then I can't do more than that, and it's not just your individual performance that decides where you finish in a championship.
Hi, David. So, Michael, is there a big party tonight?
Nothing is set up, but I'm sure we're good in how we say improvising, or we will find something. I'm pretty sure we will see what it will be, but it's going to be quite wet, I think.
And will you and Rubens be singing again?
Sorry?
And will you and Rubens be singing again?
We just had a little warm-up before we came here on the podium, so yes, there will be a lot of singing tonight.
Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Congratulations again to Michael and to the Ferrari team. And now a word from Michael and Rubens in your own languages, please. Starting with Michael.
Ja, ich habe es eben schon im Englischen versucht zu sagen. Die richtigen Worte in so einer Situation sind immer sehr schwierig zu finden. Ich war vielleicht ganz gut Auto, aber mit dem Wortspiel ist es nicht immer ganz so einfach in so einer Situation. Was ich gerne zum Ausdruck bringen möchte, ist, dass der Sieg, die Weltmeisterschaft, sicherlich etwas ganz Besonderes ist. Aber es ist nichts im Verhältnis zu dem, auf die Art und Weise, wie wir es geschafft haben und mit wem wir es geschafft haben. Weil diese Teamarbeit, die wir geleistet haben, dieses Zusammenhalten in schwierigen Zeiten, in schwierigen Momenten, nicht in diesem Jahr, sondern in den Jahren zuvor, teilweise auch in diesem Jahr, wie die Jungs hinter mir stehen, wie alle zusammenhalten, das ist einzigartig. Ich habe sowas in dem Team noch nie erlebt. Es ist so viel Menschlichkeit da, dass es einfach nur Spaß macht, mit meinen Jungs zusammen zu arbeiten und mit ihnen zusammen manchmal zu verlieren, aber hauptsächlich zu gewinnen. Das tun wir zum Glück öfter. Und dafür möchte ich allen danken, die im Team sind. Sorry, aber mehr fällt mir nicht ein. Also das lag mir auf dem Herzen, das wollte ich loswerden. Dankeschön.
Hey, Michael. And Rubens.
Para mim, obviamente, foi uma corrida fantástica. Foi uma das melhores corridas que eu tive na minha carreira. Eu acho que depois da largada eu vi que eu tive a chance de manter o gap com o Michael e manter o David atrás. Durante a corrida teve algum momento em que foi muito crucial, porque ele saiu, o David saiu na minha frente, depois eu tive outro pit stop, eu tive uma chance, eu continuei batalhando e graças a Deus eu consegui ultrapassá-lo. Então acho que foi uma corrida fantástica, uma festa ótima para o Michael, uma festa ótima para a Ferrari e para mim também, porque afinal de contas são dois anos de 2 grandes campeonatos, fazendo parte desses campeonatos de construtores, que acho que se deve muito ao Michael, mas acho que também a minha participação tem sido muito boa.
Gentlemen, thanks very much and very well done. Thanks a lot.
I didn't understand.
Segundo, perdía cualquier.
The Ferrari celebrations continue. We are the champions. They are singing. We can't hear it too well. It's probably not too much of a problem. They made a right old goulash of the opposition here in Budapest. Let me just confirm the result of the Hungarian Grand Prix for you. It's a 1-2 for Ferrari at the top. Coulthard third, Ralf Schumacher fourth, Hakkinen, who had the equipment to win, fifth place, and Nick Heidfeld making his point for Sauber. We go straight to the press conference.
Michael, many congratulations. Thank you, Michael.
There we are then, Michael Schumacher, world champion. Exceedingly wealthy, exceedingly successful, Tony, but just an ordinary geezer deep down.
Yeah, because he takes great pride in being a team player and getting those guys around him. He's helped to build up that team over the years since he went there in 1996. But the thing is, you know and I know, he will go back to Wufflens Le Chateau in Switzerland, and he's just the ordinary bloke there. He goes down to the supermarket with the kids, and they don't bother about him. He'll go down and order his pizza, his favourite pizza, which is nicknamed the Schumacher in the village. His nickname's the village pet, you know, and he'll go back home and he'll be with the kids, and that's what he wants to do. And he's taken as this ordinary bloke inside Ferrari. That's why they, conversely, love him so much as he loves them.
Good. Okay, Tony, thank you very much indeed. There's plenty for us to talk about when you rejoin us. We've got a lovely competition. You can join us in Spa and have a touch of football that weekend as well. And we're going to look back at the key moments of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher is the world champion. Tony, from the start, it looked inevitable, didn't it?
Yeah, but this is where Ferrari score, because they throw everything at it. They've worked on getting this reliability and speed from the car. Now, yes, they're on the grippier side of the track, but what's happened is, during this 3-week break when there's been the testing, man, look at that, the way Barrichello went past Coulthard. They have been testing, although they're not allowed to test, they've just been testing the launch control, the starts. 10 kilometres worth of launch control starts, and you'll see how good it is. Yes, grippier side of the track. Just look at how they go. They've developed their launch control system. I'm convinced they've got a better software in there, and look at the way they're getting away from Coulthard. What they were doing, you're only allowed 50 kilometres during this testing session, yes? You're not allowed to run more than that. So they did the starts, Badeau did the starts, and then they took the car back on a tow rope. They did 10 kilometres just of starts. That was the result.
Just saw a little glimpse of Irvine spinning off in his 125th Grand Prix that didn't last too long. But after that, Coulthard was playing catch-up. But his mechanics did a great job to get him out ahead of Barrichello.
There's a great team spirit as well at McLaren. These guys always fight, and Michael Naglan and his boys, he's the chief mechanic down there. They're well drilled. He came in just a lap after Barrichello and about 3 laps after Michael Schumacher. Look at this, just gets him out, because it was just about an 8-second stop, gets that second place, and that was really, really good for the points, good for Coulthard, considering he missed a whole session. You know, he's written off a chassis, they've rebuilt a car overnight for him. Unfortunately, it was reversed later on.
We saw a little glimpse of the pit crew of Ferrari having a little Z in the afternoon, a little snooze. Everything was so calm there, and Schumacher's second pit stop went like clockwork.
I think when you dominate like this, and the red blanket has been thrown right across the opposition, they've literally smothered them. He knew exactly what position he was in. He knew exactly how much time he had. They did not want to make a mistake. I'm sure when he came in, Brawn to Schumacher was cool it, make sure there are no mistakes at this stage, and still went out, had that cushion, and just cruised around on the second stop. That was nice to watch, actually.
In our pre-race show, James Allen did a bit with Williams about getting that fuel nozzle in that Montoya suffered from at the last race, and this time, although we didn't see it spectacularly well, it seemed to have affected David Coulthard.
Well, as James said, Ron Dennis has complained about this. Everybody has to use the same Intertechnique kit. The refueling equipment is about £35,000 worth of equipment. This was the difference, about the 2 seconds that it took when that nozzle stuck there between him getting out for second place in front of Barrichello and not. And in this case, not. You can't tamper with the equipment. It's standard kit. All you can do is take it off and grease all the ball bearings and make sure it goes on and on. And I'll bet you Ron will have another word with Charlie Whiting after this as well.
Yeah, OK, Tony. Well, we've heard from Nigel Stepney, another very excited Brit in the Ferrari camp is Ross Brawn, the man who sorts out all the strategies. Here he is, straight after the race with James.
Well, Ross Brawn, a breathless man, and what a great achievement. 4 Drivers' World Championships for Michael, 3 constructors in a row for you and Ferrari, and what a way to do it today.
Just the dream continues. I mean, it is unbelievable. I don't think when we started we ever imagined this could happen. It is just unbelievable, but it is a great group of people. Michael, Jean, everybody. It's a real pleasure to work with everyone, and this is the result.
Put it into context for me. What does this mean to you, to Ferrari today?
Well, you know, I'm lost for words. I mean, we knew we had a few opportunities to try and win the championship, but to win it here today, 4 races still remaining, is exceptional. And the car's been very reliable. It's been very fast. Best car we've produced, and the drivers have been superb. And we can always improve, but I can't think how at the moment.
Michael's now won 51 Grand Prix, equaling Prost as all-time greatest. You've worked with him on just all but a handful of them. What's his secret?
Well, he's naturally talented, and he just has huge commitment. I mean, when he was on holiday, he was karting a lot of the days because he just likes driving. I said before, he'll drive this car if he was earning $50,000 a year. It's not the money, it's just the sheer pleasure of driving. And he's such an enthusiast, along with the talent he has, it's unbeatable.
Many congratulations, Ross. Thanks for talking to us.
It's incredible, really. Karting on his holiday, Michael Schumacher. I remember a couple of races ago that Ross Brawn said to us, although he didn't say it there, don't worry, the best of this fella is still to come. How frightening is that one, Tony?
Very frightening indeed, but, you know, Michael Schumacher himself was saying, right, we're now in a Ferrari era. You know, he said the car was already reliable in 1997. Then the last 2 cars, we've made them quick. He said, I haven't done anything different. It's all the engineers, it's all the people around me, all the backroom boys that have made this car sensational. He said, I'm just the guy that twirls the wheel around. But what Ross has said, interestingly enough, it's not Michael Schumacher's reaction time, it's his feel. He feels when the car is on the limit, and he said when he goes out on colder tyres, for example, out of the pits the first 5 laps, he's sensational. No one can live with him. Incredible sensitivity.
Just finally, Tony, that the World Championships are decided, but David Coulthard for the rest of the season and the next 4 races has got a real battle to hang on to that 2nd place.
He has, but I think they'll really take this up, McLaren and Coulthard. Coulthard can't be ashamed. He's had a superb season. He's really battled on, and I'm pretty sure that the deal is done with David Coulthard. They're just waiting to sort out Hacken, and they'll announce it all together. For me, Coulthard has been very good this year.
Cheers, Tony. Thank you very much indeed. Well, now that competition, we're off to Spa in a couple of weeks' time. You can come with us, but you've got to pop in to Munich on the Saturday night. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to attend 2 great sporting events. First, the game everyone's talking about, Germany-England, in that crucial World Cup qualifier at Munich's Olympic Stadium on Saturday, the 1st of September. Then, straight on to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix, where the winner will receive tickets that include access to the exclusive Paddock Club and a pit lane walkabout. Well, to enter this super competition, all you've got to do is answer the following question. Who made their F1 debut at the Belgian Grand Prix in 1991? Is it A, Jenson Button, B, David Coulthard, or C, Michael Schumacher? A, Jenson Button, B, David Coulthard, C, Michael Schumacher. The number to call, 09065 811 811, 09065 811 811. The calls will cost you 60 pence a minute. The lines close at midnight on Tuesday. Now, this great prize is brought to you by Foster's. More details on the F1 ITV website, and the very best of luck to you all. Now then, stay tuned to... Right, we have more reaction from us here in Budapest in our highlight show just before midnight. That show repeated, as always, ITV2, 7 tomorrow night. A couple of weeks' time, off we go, qualifying live in Belgium from 11:30 on the Saturday. The race from just after midday, highlights 12:20, repeated 7 o'clock ITV2. We salute Michael Schumacher, world champion for the 4th time with 4 races to go. Schumi, the best in the business by a very long way. Bye-bye to you all.
You think you're special, you do. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it when you laugh at me, look down on me, and walk around on me. Just one more fight about your leadership, and I will straight up leave your ship. 'Cause I've had enough of this. Yeah, this time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway. This time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway.
And Michael Schumacher gives it the welly out of the last corner and wins the Australian Grand Prix. Look at that, Michael Schumacher off, amazing, both the Ferraris off. And on the very last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher looks as though he's going to go through and take another win. What an incredible situation. Schumacher wins in Monaco.
Michael Schumacher wins the European Grand Prix, his 5th victory of the 2001 season. Well done.
Yeah, this time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway. This time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway.
Go, 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 and good start for Schumacher. Michael Schumacher wins. Michael Schumacher is world champion.
Formula One on ITV in association with Texaco.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good achievement for Michael, and he really deserved this title and this record. I mean, equal record, and maybe in 2 weeks he will be the only one. And I cannot do anything, cannot compete against him, and he well deserved what is happening to him.
Are you sad about that?
No, I'm not. You know, I have more problems, you know, with the team, and I don't have time too much to care about that. But I would have liked to keep it for sure. But it's like this, and I prefer to be beaten by a champion like Michael.
ganz doll darüber, weil es sind mehrere Faktoren zusammengekommen. Wow!
Unter anderem, dass Karl-Heinz Zimmermann oben auf dem Dach gerade wieder einmal zu Ehren seine Pistole entleert hat. Ich glaube, jetzt haben sich hier alle erschrocken. Ja, ich glaube, Sie müssen heute auch nochmal da hoch, ne?
Ja, sieht wohl so aus. Aber
Sie haben den Knall gehört, das ist gut.
ich glaube schon. Steckt noch ein bisschen.
Ja, super. Okay. Right there. Just Nikki talking at the moment. Drivers and Constructors Championship, congratulations, Ross. I mean, what can I say? It's your turn.
Well, it's just a continuation of the dream. I mean, when I came to Ferrari, a championship was the ambition, and we've won 3 constructors and 2 drivers, and the team is so strong. People are committed to each other, drivers, engineers, the whole team, and it's just a great experience.
Any doubts during the race today? Because it seemed to be very lonesome at the top.
Well, we were, I think when David managed to get past Rubens the first time, we were a little bit anxious because David was pretty quick for a few laps. And I was talking to Michael about the gaps and whether we needed to push a bit more, and then David seemed to lose a bit of his pace. So then from that point on, and then we had the bonus of Rubens managing to get David in the second pit stop, which was great. So it was a pretty straightforward race, but it's always anxious when there's so much at stake.
You're now with the team for a while. Have we seen the best Ferrari team and the best Schumacher ever?
I hope not. I hope we can do better. It's difficult, but I hope we can do better. And after last year, everyone thought we would relax, and I think you can see that's not our intent. We're doing things the only way we know how, and I think we've got quite an exciting car lined up for next year. 2 very, very good drivers, and it's a very good team, so let's hope it continues.
So 2 titles in 2 years. What's your way of celebrating the Italian way of driving?
Well, we didn't prepare anything. I thought it was too risky to start thinking about preparing anything, so we'll just see what happens tonight, but I'm sure there will be a celebration.
Thank you very much, Ross Brawn, und dann gebe ich nochmal ab, und ich denke, wir haben nachher sicherlich noch
su, 1, 2, 3, via, Michael! Sandro, col pannello, col pannello. Dai il pannello! Ferri, il pannello! Ce
David, a physical demanding race. So first of all, how do you feel? Because I heard you was a bit dehydrated.
Yeah, it felt a little bit hot after the race. You know, I pushed as hard as I could. The car was quite difficult to drive, a lot of oversteer. And that was it. That was as much as I could do. And it came down to the pit stops, unfortunately. And we just have to accept that today, again, we weren't quite as good as we would have hoped for.
At this stage, not such a big surprise, Schumacher being world champion for the 4th time. What did you think during the race? Was there any chance left?
There was definitely a chance to be pushing him had I got off the grid, but you know the start just wasn't possible on that dusty part of the track. So just have to you know, say congratulations to him that he deserved this championship. He's been very strong all season.
Second pit stop wasn't a big help.
Yeah, we were a little bit too long with the nozzle. It happens sometimes, and that's what cost us. When it came down to literally, I just needed half a second to be in front of Rubens. And you know, generally our guys are very good, but occasionally, you know, funnily enough, we were talking about the refueling rigs before the race, just saying how we've not had any problems this year, and unfortunately it did happen today.
4 races left. From now on, it's rather testing for next season.
No, I want to win. I want to win these races, and we'll have a different car for next year, so it doesn't really matter too much about developing on the racetrack.
Do you know already when we will hear something about the future, about McLaren's future, your future?
No, I don't, but I feel pretty confident that I'll be continuing with McLaren, and we just need to wait. As you know, the team have options on probably most of the drivers in the pit lane, but I feel confident that I'll be staying with them.
Thank you. Bei mir ist jetzt auch Jean Todt, hier ist immer noch die Hölle los, der Teamchef, der Vater des Sieges, wenn man so will, der Vater der WM, Teamchef von Ferrari. Ja, er war bei mir, ich weiß nicht, er weiß ja eigentlich genau, worum es geht, aber persönliche Kontakte, die gehen ja immer vor. Kleine Gratulation. Jean, congratulations. Michael mentioned the team, so what's the secret of putting a team like this together? You put the team together years ago and now it's working fantastic.
I mean, it's as you say, it's a great achievement for the team. 2nd time in a row for the driver championship with Michael. 3rd time in a row for manufacturers championship for Ferrari. This time, I mean, earlier in the season, after 13 Grand Prix. So, I mean, it shows a very big domination of Ferrari, of all the components. I mean, we have had a fantastic support from our partners, from Shell, from Rich, and I mean, you know, it's a team effort. So, I mean, we are very proud of it.
We've seen a perfect crew, perfect strategy, so a few more championships ahead the next years because you're joining the crew a few more years?
Well, you know, why we have already to speak about next year. Let's enjoy this year. You know, we will work, we will do our best, but it's no point to speak about record, about all that. Let's enjoy the 13th race of the 2001 season, which allows Michael to be champion for the fourth time, 51 wins, Ferrari, Manufacturers World Champion. Let's enjoy that.
Thank you very much, Jean Todt. Und ich denke, hier wird noch eine Menge gefeiert und dann nicht.
This year he did really a good job. They had a superior team, a superior car, and he drove well, so it's good.
Maximum congratulations. I definitely know what it feels like to win the championship, so he better enjoy maximum. Because it always feels like the time is too short, you know. But definitely well done.
Championship 2001 is over on. Just the first words from you.
Better win the next race. That's what we're about, winning races. It was a difficult weekend. It was a little bit disappointing to have a fumble on our second pit stop for David, which, you know, we lost what we gained out of the first stop. But it's motor racing. We had to fight to try and win. And with Mika, he did a great job, but we tried to change our strategy, see if we could get past Ralph, but this circuit's pretty prohibitive to overtaking.
Did you see any chance at all to win this race today?
Oh yeah, I think we had the speed, but it's just impossible, you know, to overtake here. And the race was very much about the first corner and qualifying, and if we didn't do a good enough job in qualifying, this is the outcome of the race that you expect. But we tried, and we keep trying.
So for you, the season 2002 starts already now?
No, we have to try and win some of the races that are left. That's what we're about. We started working on next year a long time ago. You know, we're a very focused, determined bunch, and you know, you know, they did a good job. Ferrari, they did a better job than we did. They deserved to win, as did Michael. But it doesn't mean to say we're not going to try and win the remaining races. That's what we're about.
Ron, at the end, one sentence about your old friend Michael Schumacher now. I mean, fourth-time world champion, 51 victories like Alain Prost. That's a lot.
Yeah, no, he did a good job, no question. He's moved into a different place in the record books. Maybe I'd like to retire, make our job a bit easier.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you very much.
As always, it hasn't sunk in yet, but I know, I just didn't believe we could do it today, and I haven't, so it's incredible.
Copybook victory, and Rubens in second place as well. How important was it to get him into second at that time?
Oh, great. I mean, it kept the challenge from Michael. We didn't know what was going to happen towards the end of the race, and it kept the pressure off Michael, so Rubens did a fantastic job today.
Did you expect this victory so early?
No, you try not to think about it. You try to just see what happens. And I thought, well, if it doesn't happen today, we've got another 3 or 4 goes. So, but it's just brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you. Non se lo aspettavano assolutamente, un successo quello di Michael Schumacher veramente inappuntabile, a very great victory.
Fantastic victory for sure, and to have the World Championship win so early, it's fantastic, great. I was hoping we would do a bit better today, but the start wasn't brilliant on the dirty line, but it was good to see our guys finish, but congratulations to Ferrari and Schumacher.
Do you have any regret about this World Championship wasted?
We really lost it with reliability. We had too many problems in the early part of the season.
Grazie Mario, molto sportivo. Come on guys, let's stop.
Where is it now? Okay. Yeah. Leave him.
Bleib drauf, Corinna, komm. Bleib drauf. So ein Red Bull, weißt du?
Sorry. Entschuldigung.
Nochmal tief da einsteigen.
No.
Du hast das also einmal Job. Sabine, komm, fahr mal bitte. Ich kann nicht fahren. Soll ich nicht entscheiden? Mitfahren. Ne, Sabine. Ja, gerne nicht. Weil wir sind mit dem Park
dell'accoglienza. I microfoni sono dietro. Sì, ma io vi spiego, no? Anche perché siccome non avevamo preparato niente, era un ordine di scuderia preciso, io sono arrivato tardi, sapevo che sarei arrivato tardi e siccome mi facevano un po' di calma con voi e con i vostri colleghi domani a Maranello. Oggi io preferisco di lasciare lo spazio che a parlare siano Todd, siano i piloti, sia la squadra. Per me e per tutti noi è stata logicamente una grandissima soddisfazione, perché nella vita e nello sport, e voi lo sapete, sia nella vita che nello sport vincere è molto molto difficile, ma ripetersi è ancora più difficile. Quindi una Ferrari che vince per 3 anni consecutivi il mondiale costruttori, che per me è fondamentale perché è la somma dei risultati delle due macchine, è la somma dei risultati di una squadra, e che vince per il 2° anno consecutivo con uno straordinario Schumacher, il pilota che ha vinto più di ogni altro con la Ferrari, per me e per tutti noi è una grandissima soddisfazione. Io ci tenevo, non potevo non venire senza salutarvi, però io volevo solo farvi un saluto. So che avete sentito Todd, avete sentito i piloti, tanti bravi imprenditori italiani sanno fare altrettanto. Basta e grazie così. Hai interrotto per un'ora le vacanze, perché cosa ha fatto lei? Mezz'ora di interruzione? Anche qui io approfitto per salutarvi. In English. Just one sentence.
Sorry. Ich bin hier, ja?
I think that this is
one thing. What does this mean for you?
No, I think that this is first of all for Ferrari and for me personally a fantastic satisfaction. To win in the life in the sport is very difficult, but to repeat the victories is far more difficult. We have won for the third time, for the third year, the constructor, the manufacturer championship, and this is very important against the most important car manufacturers in the world. We have won with Michael the 2nd title. Michael has been fantastic, has done a huge weekend, and I think that he was very important
in these years for our victories, and that's it. I think it's important for our tifosi, it's important for Italy, it's important for Fiat, but first of all it's important for Ferrari. It's a big satisfaction to win 5 races before the end and to be first and second in this crucial race. Thank you.
What was the secret you did so early this year?
The secret is to be better than the others, but it's not so easy as you maybe can imagine. Thank you. Thank you very much. Arrivederci.
What's about the champion?
What?
What's about the champion? Do we have fantastic?
Where's the...
So then Michael Schumacher, just like Nigel Mansell back in 1992, winning the world title at the Hungaroring. 3 wins for Schumacher, equals Senna's record in Hungary, and will he now help teammate Barrichello overhaul Coulthard? 4th, a Budapest best for Ralf Schumacher, Hakkinen 5th, Heidfeld collecting the last point. Schumacher can't be caught. 40 points available at best to his rivals, and he's 43 clear. Coulthard, he'll have to go some to keep Ralf Schumacher and Barrichello at bay, a couple of points for Hakkinen. It's official then, a hat-trick of constructors' titles for Ferrari. The top 3 look sorted. Heidfeld scored 1 for Sauber. British-American Racing and Jordan both draw a blank. The reigning champion, though, is top man again.
There is a lot of things coming together. 51 victory, Drivers' Championship, Constructors' Championship, thanks to Rubens. We all can celebrate that tonight, and that's a great achievement within one event.
Well, he's naturally talented, and he just has huge commitment. I mean, when he was on holiday, he was karting a lot of the days because he just likes driving. I said before, he'll drive this car if he was earning $50,000 a year. It's not the money, it's just the sheer pleasure of driving. And he's such an enthusiast, along with the talent he has, it's unbeatable.
To work with this team is something very special. You don't know what is really happening inside very often, but we have had tough times, which hasn't come out to the outside, but we've always stick together so much, and that's something outstanding. I've worked for various teams, not so many teams on the other side, but the human point I really have to point out in that team is something very special. I don't want to put down my time with Benetton because that was a great time too, certainly. So I hope my guys and my friends at Benetton don't feel upset about that, but obviously the 7 years I'm now in Ferrari is something very special, certainly.
I think it was exactly the track where we could expect that he would win his championship, and dominating the whole weekend, and really deserving this title and the record. That's it.
And he's taken your record away as well. Does that bother you at all? Are you happy to see it?
To see what, the 51?
Yeah.
No, I'm quite proud to be with him. For another 2 weeks, maybe I can be equal to him, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay, let's look back at the key moments with Tony Jardine. David Coulthard needed a great start, but he never looked like getting away from the dirty side of the track.
Despite trying to clean it up during the warm-up session this morning, superior grip, and I say the launch control of the traction of the Ferraris, which has been worked on. Look at that, even Barrichello getting ahead of him, demoting Coulthard down to 3rd place. During this ban on testing in the last 3 weeks, you're allowed 50 kilometres of shakedown. What were they? That was just Irvine going off just in the background. They were just doing starts with Luca Badoa, 10 kilometres worth, and it shows here from the cockpit of David Coulthard. Look at Michael Schumacher just going away there, and now Rubens Barrichello comes into shot. Badoa's just doing launch control starts and then getting towed back to ensure that he didn't go over the limit of the testing kilometres.
So catch up after that for David Coulthard. 2 pit stops, 1 excellent, 1 poor.
Rubens Barrichello has already been in. David Coulthard then goes in the lap after. Superb job by McLaren. Michael Negline, the chief mechanic, and the boys get that car with a brand new chassis out ahead. He gets in second place. The second pit stop, in he comes. Here's the problem, fuel nozzle sticking on there. Extra 2 seconds mean the difference between second and third place. Here, look, David Coulthard coming down the pit lane. Rubens Barrichello there just nips past him to take that second place back, and questions will be asked by Ron Dennis about the Intertechnic refuelling equipment.
Strange race for Mika Häkkinen, who's won here for the last couple of years. First of all, held up by Jarno Trulli, and then behind Ralf Schumacher, and then having to come in for an unexpected pit stop.
I think it's all about his career, his job being on the line, and I think McLaren are not signing him at the moment because they're checking out his commitment for the future. Is he still hungry? Does he still want to race for us? We're only surmising at this point. Later in the race, Mika Häkkinen, look at this, climbing all over the back of Ralf Schumacher, trying to take fourth place, setting fastest laps in the process. Too late by this time. But is the refueling equipment at fault after the second stop? Not enough fuel on board. He has to come in for a splash and dash and loses the chance of getting that fourth place for McLaren. Big Ron will ask more questions in the house.
A little pre-race scare for Michael Schumacher, but all weekend he's come back refreshed, he's come back calm, and I got the impression this was going to be his day.
Absolutely brilliant job from Ferrari, which they've done all year. The commitment from this man to take the 4 world title. But you know, he's thinking about 2002. He said, I really wanted to win here so we can get the championship out of the way and concentrate on the 2002 car. There's Barrichello coming home to make it a Ferrari 1-2. He said, this is a Ferrari era. Look how excited he is, passionate about his sport. Now, we want to make this an era that lasts this time. Jean Todt there on the left of your picture, who's done so much to galvanise this team. Ruben's a great teammate. And 4 titles for this ordinary bloke from Germany, Michael Schumacher, absolutely brilliant.
We are the champions that they were singing up there. So the big titles have gone, but there's still a lot to fight for over the concluding 4 races.
There's no question that McLaren will keep developing the car. There's no question that Coulthard, who has had a brilliant season anyway, will keep fighting all the way through to the end, because there's pride at stake now. McLaren need to win a few before the end of the season and give them a good winter so they can build on it.
Good, Tony. Thank you very much. Almost a home Grand Prix for Michael Schumacher. In a couple of weeks' time, we go to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix, live qualifying on the Saturday at 11:30. Pre-race build-up from just after midday on the Sunday. Highlights 12:20. Repeated as always ITV2 on the Monday night. Michael Schumacher is a very special sporting talent. He's a man who, above all, loves his craft. A spot of karting, on holiday, world champion again when he came back to work. Good night.
Just one more fight about your leadership, and I will straight up leave your ship, 'cause I've had enough of this. Yeah, this time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway. This time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway.
And Michael Schumacher gives it the welly out of the last corner and wins the Australian Grand Prix. Look at that, Michael Schumacher off, amazing, both the Ferraris off. And on the very last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher looks as though he's going to go through and take another win. What an incredible situation. Schumacher wins in Monaco.
Michael Schumacher wins the European Grand Prix, his 5th victory of the 2001 season. Well done.
This time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway. This time I'ma let it all come out. This time I'ma stand up and shout. I'ma do things my way. It's my way or the highway.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Foster's is www.itv-f1.com.